The law of becoming. How to think, feel, and act yourself into abundance. Introduction. The law that changes everything. There comes a moment in every person's life when they look around and ask, "Is this all there is?" You work hard, you dream, you hope, yet something always seems missing. You read books about success, repeat affirmations, and try to think positively, but life still feels like it's happening to you, not through you. If that's you, take a deep breath. You're not broken. You're not unlucky. You've simply been working with only half of the equation. Because the truth is this: the law of attraction is not about asking the universe for things. It's about becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts them. The real power isn't in your wish list. It's in your state of being. And that, my friend, is the law of becoming. The law that changes everything. For years, people have misunderstood the law of attraction. They've treated it like a cosmic shopping cart. If I just think about what I want and believe hard enough, it will show up. But that's only the surface. Let's look deeper. When you say, "I want success," what's really happening inside? You're admitting that you don't yet have it. And when you hold onto that feeling of lack, that vibration of not enough, you send out a signal of separation, the very opposite of attraction. You cannot attract abundance while identifying with scarcity. You cannot receive love while believing you're unworthy of it. You cannot find peace while defining yourself by struggle. The law of becoming says this: you don't get what you ask for. You get what you are willing to become. Your thoughts are the seeds, but your identity is the soil. If your inner world is filled with doubt, guilt, and limitation, the seeds of abundance will never grow. But when your soil, your mindset, your emotions, your self-image, is rich with belief and self-worth, everything you plant flourishes effortlessly. Thinking is only the first step. You can think about wealth, success, or happiness all day. But if your feelings, habits, and self-image don't match those thoughts, they cancel each other out. Think of it this way. You can type the destination into your GPS, but if your car is in reverse, you're not going anywhere. Thoughts are the destination. Emotion and action are the gears that move you forward. Let's make it real. A young woman named Grace once came to one of my seminars. She had a dream of becoming a writer, but she'd spent years working at a job she hated. She had vision boards, affirmations, and a notebook full of goals. But every time she sat down to write, her mind whispered, "Who do you think you are?" She was thinking big, but feeling small. Her thoughts said yes, but her emotions said no. When she finally understood this principle, she stopped trying to manifest and started to become. Every day, she began acting like a writer, waking up early, writing for 1 hour before work, reading books that inspired her, and visualizing herself sharing her story with others. Within a year, Grace published her first short story online. 2 years later, a publisher reached out. What changed? Not her talent, not her luck, her identity. She stopped asking for her dream and started becoming it. That is the difference between the law of attraction and the law of becoming. Imagination is one of the greatest forces we possess. It's not child's play. It's creation in its purest form. Every invention, every movement, every success story began first in someone's imagination. But imagination alone isn't enough. There's a bridge that must be crossed, and that bridge is identity. Let me explain. Imagine you close your eyes and see yourself living your dream life. You're healthy, confident, successful, surrounded by love. It feels good for a moment. Then you open your eyes, and reality hits. The bills are still there. The doubts return. The reason imagination often fades is because our identity hasn't caught up. We imagine new possibilities, but still feel like the old person. That's why visualization sometimes fails people. It's not because they didn't believe enough. It's because they didn't embody the vision. You must start thinking, feeling, and acting as if you already are that person, before the world gives you proof. That's what every great achiever has done. When Oprah Winfrey was a struggling TV reporter, she didn't wait for success to change her mindset. She carried herself with confidence long before anyone saw her as successful. When Elon Musk faced failure after failure with his companies, he didn't identify as a man who failed. He identified as a visionary learning how to succeed. They cross the bridge between imagination and identity. Here's a truth that might surprise you. Abundance is not something you chase. It's something you allow. It's not hiding somewhere out there. It's reflecting what's already happening in here. Your life is a mirror. It reflects the energy, beliefs, and emotional tone you carry most often. If you constantly feel anxious about money, life will mirror back experiences that confirm your fears. If you live with gratitude and confidence, life begins to show you reasons to feel even more grateful and confident. This doesn't mean bad things never happen to good people. Life will always have challenges, but your state of being determines how you move through those challenges, with fear or with faith. Let's take a simple example. Two people lose their jobs on the same day. The first person panics, feels defeated, and spends weeks telling everyone how unfair life is. The second person takes a deep breath, feels the same fear, but chooses a different identity. Maybe this is my chance to build something new. Months later, the first person is still struggling, but the second has started a small business, the very thing they'd always dreamed of. Same event, different state of being, different results. The mirror doesn't lie. So, how do you begin applying the law of becoming in your own life? You start by shifting from asking to aligning. Here's a simple, powerful exercise you can begin today. Define who you are becoming. Ask yourself, if my dream were already real, who would I be today? Write down 5 qualities of that version of you. Maybe it's confident, calm, generous, focused, or joyful. Feel it now. Spend 5 minutes each morning feeling what it would be like to already live that way. This isn't pretending. It's training your nervous system to match your desired reality. Act accordingly. Throughout your day, ask yourself, what would the future me do right now? Small actions build identity faster than big dreams. When you begin thinking, feeling, and acting like the person you're becoming, life has no choice but to catch up. I once worked with a young man named Samuel. He was a student who always said, "I'm not smart enough to be successful." He had failed several exams and carried that label like a badge of shame. During one coaching session, I asked him, if you were already the kind of person who succeeds, how would you study differently? He said, I'd stop complaining. I'd plan better. I'd believe I could improve. So I challenged him. Then do that now. Don't wait to feel ready. Become ready. He changed his approach overnight. He set a daily study schedule, joined a study group, and practiced positive self-talk every morning. By the end of the semester, he not only passed, he helped others pass too. Samuel didn't just change his grades. He changed his identity. That's the law of becoming at work. Take a deep breath. Think about something you've been asking for. Maybe success, love, peace, or confidence. Now imagine that it's already yours. What kind of person would you have to be to hold that reality? More disciplined? More grateful? More courageous? That's the version of you life is waiting for. Remember this truth. What you seek isn't ahead of you. It's waiting for you to rise to meet it. When you shift your identity, your energy changes. When your energy changes, your reality follows. You are not a beggar of the universe. You are a builder of reality. The world responds not to your wishes, but to your vibration. So from this moment on, stop asking, when will my dream come? Start declaring, I am becoming the person my dream belongs to. Because when you become it, you attract it. When you embody it, you live it. And when you live it, you'll finally see that abundance was never outside of you. It was always waiting inside, for you to rise. How to use this book. You don't just read this book, you experience it. This is not a book you rush through or skim on a quiet afternoon. The Law of Becoming is a living manual, a mirror that reveals who you truly are and what you are capable of creating. Every chapter in this book is designed to speak not just to your mind, but to your energy, your emotions, and your belief system. That means it's not enough to understand these ideas. You must practice, feel, and embody them. If you read it like ordinary self-help, you'll gain information. But if you read it as a guide to transformation, you'll gain awakening. So, here's how to get the best from this journey. 1. Slow down. This book is a process, not a sprint. Each chapter represents a step in your evolution, a layer of old thinking that dissolves and a new level of awareness that emerges. Don't rush to the next page just because your mind is curious. Pause where your heart stirs. That's the sign of a truth trying to integrate. After reading a section, sit quietly for a few minutes. Ask yourself, what part of me is this awakening? Where can I apply this right now in my life? The magic of this book is not in its words, it's in your reflection. Some readers take one chapter a day. Others spend a week on one lesson until it becomes second nature. There's no right speed, only the rhythm that allows the truth to sink in deeply. 2. Read with a journal beside you. This is a participation book. Transformation doesn't happen just by listening. It happens when you engage. Keep a becoming journal, a simple notebook or digital document where you record insights, feelings, and small breakthroughs. After each chapter, write one sentence that resonated with you most. Point 1 limiting belief. You're ready to release. Point 1 action you can take to embody that chapter's teaching today. These 3 reflections help turn awareness into change. You can also use your journal for the power shift exercises at the end of each chapter. Short, guided practices designed to align your thoughts and energy with your higher self. If you commit to journaling, you won't just read the book, you'll live inside it. 3. Practice the 24-hour principle. Right after you finish a chapter, apply one idea within 24 hours. For example, after reading The Quantum You, spend a day observing how your thoughts shape your experiences. After abundance as a way of being, practice a small act of giving or gratitude that same day. After the power of awareness, catch yourself in one automatic reaction and choose differently. Why? Because your brain learns through experience, not theory. Within 24 hours, your subconscious begins to integrate what you practice, turning knowledge into habit. That's how you move from reading transformation to living transformation. 4. Listen with the heart, not just the head. Some teachings in this book might challenge long-held beliefs about success, love, time, or even yourself. When that happens, resist the urge to analyze or argue with the words. Instead, listen with your heart. Feel what truth arises beneath your mental resistance. Growth often sounds uncomfortable at first, not because it's wrong, but because it's new. If you feel emotional as you read, let that energy move through you. It means something inside you is shifting. You're not breaking down, you're breaking open. Remember, becoming isn't about adding more. It's about shedding what no longer fits. 5. Treat the power shift as sacred practice. At the end of every chapter, you'll find a short section called Power Shift. This is not a summary, it's an activation. It may ask you to close your eyes, visualize, breathe, write, or speak affirmations aloud. These moments are like pressing save on your inner transformation. Take them seriously. Even 5 minutes of genuine focus can rewire your emotional patterns faster than days of overthinking. You can revisit these power shifts anytime, in the morning to align your energy, or at night before bed to release the day. Over time, they become your personal rituals for manifestation and self-awareness. 6. Apply every lesson to real life. The chapters are built around universal principles, but they become powerful only when they meet your personal story. As you read, think of how each idea applies to your everyday roles. How can this help me as a parent or partner? How can this guide my business, studies, or creative work? How can this heal my relationship with money, fear, or self-doubt? For example, if you're an entrepreneur rebuilding after failure, notice how The Quantum You teaches you to realign with possibility instead of replaying the past. If you're a student seeking direction, use Becoming Through Purpose to clarify your inner compass before chasing external validation. If you're a parent rediscovering confidence, let Abundance as a Way of Being remind you that your presence is your greatest gift. The more personal you make these teachings, the more powerful they become. 7. Repeat and revisit. Each reading unlocks more. The law of becoming isn't a one-time read. It's a mirror that changes as you change. When you come back to a chapter months later, you'll notice new insights, not because the words changed, but because you did. Every time you read, you bring a new vibration to the same truth, and that truth reveals another layer. Many readers use this book as a yearly reset, reading one chapter each week, then repeating the cycle. Each time, the journey deepens. So, when you finish the last page, don't close the book with finality. Keep it nearby. Let it walk with you through the seasons of your becoming. 8. Share the energy. Transformation expands when it's shared. Discuss the ideas with a friend, family member, or community group. Teaching what you learn reinforces it in your own consciousness. You can even form a becoming circle, a small group where you read one chapter per week and discuss your experiences and power shifts. Each conversation becomes a spark that ignites someone else's awareness and strengthens yours, because abundance grows through circulation, and wisdom grows when it's spoke. And 9. Let this book speak to you beyond words. Sometimes, while reading, a single phrase or sentence will seem to vibrate inside you, as if it was written directly for you. When that happens, pause. Highlight it. Read it aloud. These are the sentences meant to awaken your next level of becoming. Treat them as personal affirmations. Repeat them throughout your day. They carry frequency, energy encoded in language, and that energy continues to work through you even after you close the book. 10. Approach with curiosity, not pressure. You don't need to get it all right. This is not a performance. You can't fail at becoming. Every doubt, every resistance, every small victory is part of the process. Approach each chapter like a conversation with your highest self. Be curious. Be gentle. Be open. You may find that a single insight changes the trajectory of your entire life, not because it's new information, but because you were ready to hear it. Transformation happens at the speed of awareness, and you are awakening faster than you realize. This book was never meant to give you something you don't have. It was designed to remind you of what has always been yours: your power, your peace, your ability to create. So read slowly, reflect deeply, apply boldly. And when you finish, don't think, "I've reached the end." Think instead, "I have become, and now I begin again." Because the law of becoming isn't just a book. It's a lifelong companion, a mirror of your potential. And every time you return to it, it will meet you where you are, ready to take you further than before. Part 1. The Inner Blueprint, Thinking Yourself into Alignment. Every building begins with a blueprint. Before a single brick is laid, before the walls rise or the roof is set, there's a design, a clear mental picture of what will exist. Your life works the same way. Everything you've experienced so far, every success, every struggle, every relationship and opportunity, began first in your mind, as an image, a thought, or a belief you held about yourself and the world. That invisible pattern is what we call your inner blueprint. It's not fate. It's not luck. It's the quiet, consistent story you've been telling yourself about what's possible, what you deserve, and who you think you are. Most people try to change their lives by changing their actions alone, working harder, chasing new goals, switching directions when things don't work. But action without alignment is like painting over cracked walls. The surface looks new, but the foundation remains the same. True transformation begins when you learn to think from your future, not your past. When your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs begin to align with the person you are becoming, rather than the person you've been. In this chapter, we'll explore how to rewrite that internal design, how to shift the thought patterns that quietly shape your destiny. You'll learn how to recognize when your thinking is pulling you out of alignment, and how to bring it back to center with clarity and purpose. Because once your mind begins to think in harmony with your higher self, life stops feeling like resistance and starts to flow like creation. You are the architect of your reality. Every belief is a brick. Every thought is a tool. And this chapter will show you how to build from the inside out, with precision, peace, and power. Chapter 1. The Mind is Magnet. Right now, as you're listening to this, your mind is broadcasting something. Every thought you think, every belief you hold, is like an invisible signal moving out into the universe, and that signal is shaping your life. The people you meet, the chances that find you, the challenges you face, they're not random. They are reflections of the energy your mind is sending out every single day. That's not magic, that's alignment. You see, your mind is not a quiet observer. It's an active magnet. And the stronger your thoughts and emotions, the stronger that magnet becomes. The question is, what have you been attracting? To understand this, we need to see our thoughts for what they truly are, vibrations in motion. Every emotion, joy, fear, love, doubt, carries a frequency. Just like a radio signal, it attracts things tuned to the same station. If you constantly think, I never have enough, you start noticing proof that supports it. But if you choose thoughts like, I always find a way, life is working for me, your brain begins scanning for evidence that matches that belief. This is not wishful thinking. It's neuroscience. Inside your brain is a system called the reticular activating system, or RAS for short. It acts like a filter. It shows you what matches your most dominant thoughts. Here's an example. Have you ever thought about buying a new car, and suddenly you start seeing that exact model everywhere? That's your RAS in action. It's not that there are suddenly more of those cars. It's that your mind tuned its frequency to notice them. Now imagine doing that intentionally with abundance, confidence, or opportunity. You begin to tune your mind to see them, and then, naturally, to attract them. Because what you think about most is not just shaping your perception, it's shaping your reality. Think of your thoughts like radio waves. You can't see them, but they're always moving, always broadcasting. When you live in fear, your signal says, stay small. When you live in gratitude, your signal says, bring me more to be grateful for. The universe doesn't respond to your words. It responds to your vibration. This is why two people can work equally hard, but one seems to attract endless opportunities, while the other feels stuck. It's not just effort, it's energy. One is sending a signal of confidence and expectancy. The other is sending a signal of worry and lack. And here's the most important thing. You can change your signal anytime you choose. You are not a victim of your thoughts. You are their creator. To change your frequency, you first need to understand what you're currently broadcasting. Most people are carrying around old mental programs that no longer serve them. These are patterns of thought planted by childhood experiences, society, or failure, running quietly in the background, shaping reality without permission. Let me share a story. A man named David came to one of my workshops. He was brilliant, hardworking, and full of ideas. Yet every business he started failed within months. When I asked him what he truly believed about success, he said, "It's hard. You have to struggle to earn it. People like me never get lucky." That belief was his frequency. No matter how much action he took, his mind was broadcasting a signal of struggle. So what did life mirror back? More struggle. Once he began replacing that belief with new ones, success flows through discipline and faith. Abundance is my natural state. Everything shifted. Within a year, his new business took off. Not because the market changed, but because he did. Your thoughts are powerful, but your beliefs are the foundation they rest on. They shape the tone of every thought you think. So ask yourself, what do I believe about money? What do I believe about love? What do I believe about my own worth? Because if your beliefs carry the energy of fear, guilt, or limitation, you'll keep tuning into experiences that confirm them. Abundance cannot land where self-doubt is the dominant signal. Let me give you another story, one that might sound closer to home. A single mother named Clara was working 2 jobs to support her children. She often said, "Life is hard. I'm just trying to survive." She meant no harm. It was her reality. But she didn't realize those words were programming her future. One night, while tucking her daughter into bed, a little girl asked, "Mom, why do you always say life is hard?" That question hit her like lightning. Clara decided to change her story. Every morning, she started saying, "Life supports me." Even when things were tough, she reminded herself, "There's always enough. I am growing stronger." It felt fake at first, like pretending. But slowly, something shifted. She started to feel calmer, more open, more confident. Within months, she found a better job that paid more and gave her time to be with her kids. The people around her changed too. She started meeting others who supported her goals. Her life began to match her new mental frequency. The mind truly is a magnet. And once you change your signal, life reorganizes to meet it. Let's make this practical. You can begin training your mind to broadcast abundance with 3 simple steps. Step 1, awareness. Notice the signal you're sending. Throughout your day, listen to your thoughts. When you catch yourself saying things like, "I can't," "It's too hard," or "I never get lucky," stop. That's not just a sentence, it's a frequency. Replace it immediately with a thought that lifts your energy. For example, "I am learning and growing. Life is opening new doors for me. I always find a way forward." The goal isn't perfection, it's awareness. Step 2, emotion. Feel before you see. Your emotion is the energy behind your thoughts. To attract joy, you must feel joy. To attract success, you must feel successful now, even before the proof appears. Every morning, close your eyes and imagine one thing you want. Then feel gratitude as if it's already yours. Hold that feeling for at least 1 minute. That's how you train your brain and body to match the vibration of abundance. Step 3, action. Align your choices. Thoughts and feelings are powerful, but they need movement. Ask yourself, what action would someone who already believes in their success take today? Then take that action, even if it's small. That's how you prove to your subconscious that your new frequency is real. Modern psychology supports this process. When you repeat positive thoughts with emotion and consistent action, you activate new neural pathways in the brain, literally rewiring how you think and respond. This process, called neuroplasticity, allows you to change your mental frequency over time. What once felt impossible begins to feel natural, and soon, it becomes your new normal. The universe doesn't hand you abundance. It reflects who you believe you are. Now it's time to reset your mental magnet. For the next 7 days, I challenge you to begin a thought detox. Here's how it works. Day 1, awareness. Write down every negative or limiting thought you notice about yourself, money, love, or life. Don't judge them, just observe. Day 2, replace. For each limiting thought, write a new one that supports your growth. Example, instead of "I never have enough," write, "I always find what I need." Day 3, emotion. Practice feeling good on purpose. Listen to music. Take a walk. Do something that lifts your mood. A high vibration attracts high outcomes. Day 4, visualization. Spend 3 to 5 minutes imagining your ideal life. See it, feel it, own it. Day 5, action. Take one inspired step toward your goal. Send that email. Apply for that opportunity. Make the call. Day 6, gratitude. Write down 5 things that went right this week, even small ones. Gratitude multiplies energy. Day 7, reflection. Ask yourself, how do I feel now compared to 7 days ago? You'll be amazed how quickly your energy and your results begin to change. Remember, your mind is not your enemy. It's your most powerful ally. When trained with awareness and emotion, it becomes a magnet for everything you desire. Right now, the universe is listening to your thoughts, not to judge, but to mirror. If you broadcast doubt, it sends you reasons to doubt. If you broadcast belief, it sends you proof to believe. So today, make a decision. You will no longer live by default thoughts. You will think on purpose, feel with intention, and act with power. Because your mind is the seed of every future you'll ever live. What you plant in it today determines what you harvest tomorrow. You don't have to chase abundance. You only have to become the kind of person who attracts it naturally. And it begins with this one truth. Your mind is a magnet, and you are the one who decides what it attracts. Chapter 2, The Narrative Within. There's a story playing inside your mind right now. It speaks in quiet whispers when you wake up and loud judgments when you fail. It tells you who you are, what you can do, and what you can't. That story, not your circumstances, not your background, not luck, is what shapes your life. Every single person you admire, every success you dream of, every victory you've ever heard about, all began when someone decided to change the story they told themselves. The truth is simple but powerful. You don't live your life. You live your story about your life. And when you change that story, everything changes. Your mind is not just a place where thoughts happen. It's a storyteller, constantly creating meaning, assigning roles, and building a narrative around every experience you have. When something goes wrong, your mind tries to make sense of it. This always happens to me. I'm just not lucky. I'll never be enough. Over time, those sentences stop being comments. They become identity. That's the quiet danger of self-talk. You don't just hear your words, you become them. Psychologists call this internal narrative identity. It's the ongoing story we tell ourselves about who we are and what our life means. If your story is filled with guilt, failure, or fear, your actions will unconsciously align with that script. Think of your mind like an author sitting at a desk, and the pen is in your hand. If you keep repeating a painful story, you'll keep reliving it. But if you begin to write a new one, your reality will start catching up to your words. That's not just poetic, it's scientific. Studies in cognitive psychology show that repeated self-talk literally reshapes neural pathways in the brain. If you keep saying, "I can't," your brain wires for limitation. If you say, "I'm learning," it wires for growth. The story you repeat becomes the identity you live. Let's go deeper. Your identity, the sense of who you are, is built from two main ingredients: repetition and emotional charge. Every time you say something about yourself with strong emotion, your subconscious mind records it like a command. When you say, "I'm always late," with frustration, your brain remembers that emotion. When you say, "I can't handle pressure," while anxious, it stores it as truth. Do this enough times, and it becomes a program, an internal script you start to act out automatically. Here's the good news. The same rule that built the old identity can build a new one. If you begin repeating empowering statements with emotion, like, "I am capable," "I am growing," "I am becoming," your subconscious starts believing that instead. You are literally rewriting your mental software. Emotion is the ink. Repetition is the pen. When both align, your story changes, and with it, your reality. Let me share a story about a woman named Lila. For years, Lila carried the story, "Nothing ever works out for me." She had been through a painful divorce, lost her job, and was struggling to raise her 2 children alone. Life felt like a fight she couldn't win. Every night she would say to herself, "Maybe I'm just not meant for a good life." One day, a friend asked her, "Lila, if your daughter said the same words about herself, what would you tell her?" That question broke her heart. She realized she had been teaching her children, through her own story, that they were powerless. So, she began to change the narrative. Every morning, she stood in front of the mirror and said out loud, "I am becoming stronger. I am becoming the woman my children deserve. Life is not against me, it's preparing me." At first, she felt silly. It sounded like pretending, but repetition built belief. Emotion built power. Within months, she began acting differently, applying for new jobs, smiling more, setting boundaries. 6 months later, she had a new career, a peaceful home, and most importantly, a new sense of self. Nothing magical happened to her. Something miraculous happened within her. She didn't wait for life to rewrite the story. She picked up the pen herself. You have a script, too. The running dialogue that defines how you see yourself. It might say, "I'm not good with money," or "I always attract the wrong people," or "I'm just not confident." But remember this, those are not facts. They are stories, and stories can be rewritten. Here's how to start. Step 1. Identify the old script. Listen to your self-talk for 1 full day. Notice the words you use when you talk about yourself, your goals, or your challenges. Are they empowering or limiting? Do they build you up, or quietly tear you down? Write down 3 sentences you often say that hold you back. Step 2. Challenge their truth. Ask yourself, is this absolutely true? Most of the time, you'll find it's not. It's just something you've rehearsed so long that it feels real. Step 3. Replace with empowering language. Create new statements that express who you want to become, not who you've been. For example, old script, "I'm always overwhelmed." New script, "I am learning to manage my life with calm and strength." Old script, "I never finish what I start." New script, "I am becoming consistent and disciplined." Step 4. Add emotion and repetition. Say these new statements daily, out loud, with energy. The more emotion you give them, the deeper they anchor. Identity doesn't change overnight. It changes with practice. Every repetition is a new line written in the story of your becoming. Your subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between a truth and a well-rehearsed belief. Whatever you repeat with emotion, it accepts as reality. That's why athletes use visualization, why public speakers practice affirmations, and why therapy often centers around reframing. Because language creates perception, and perception creates experience. You are the narrator of your life, and your words are your brushstrokes. If your inner dialogue is colored by doubt, you'll paint a dim picture of your potential. But when your inner voice begins to speak with faith, courage, and purpose, that picture brightens, and life starts reflecting that new tone. Remember, you can't live beyond the story you tell yourself. So, if you want to live a new life, start telling a new story. Consider Serena Williams. Throughout her career, she faced injuries, setbacks, and criticism. Yet, even in moments of defeat, her self-talk was fierce. I am the greatest. I am still in this. Those weren't ego statements, they were mental conditioning. By speaking her new identity before it appeared in reality, she trained her brain to act as if it were already true. That's what made her a champion. You don't need to be an athlete to apply the same principle. You only need to believe that the words you speak are seeds, and that what you water daily will grow. Here's a simple, powerful exercise to help you reshape your inner narrative. 1. The mirror moment. Stand in front of a mirror for 1 minute every morning. Look into your own eyes and say your new story out loud. Start with the phrase, I am becoming. Example, I am becoming more confident every day. I am becoming the kind of person who attracts abundance. I am becoming calm, capable, and unstoppable. It may feel awkward at first, but remember, repetition builds identity. Soon, those words won't feel foreign. They'll feel like home. 2. The rewrite journal. At the end of each day, write down one old belief that showed up and one new belief you practiced instead. For example, today, I caught myself thinking I wasn't ready for that opportunity. I replaced it with, I am becoming ready by acting now. This reflection keeps your awareness sharp and your momentum growing. 3. The circle of proof. Each time something positive happens, no matter how small, link it to your new story. Say to yourself, see, that's who I'm becoming. Over time, your mind will collect evidence that the new story is true. That's how belief becomes reality. Now, it's time to claim authorship of your story. Take a deep breath. Put your hand over your heart and complete this sentence. I am becoming the kind of person who. Finish it with truth and emotion. Maybe it's create success through focus and faith. Loves without fear. Walks in confidence, not comparison. Turns pain into purpose. Say out loud. Write it down. Repeat it until your heart believes it. Because every time you do, you take the pen back from the past and begin writing a new chapter in your life. Here's the greatest power you'll ever have. You can't always control what happens to you, but you can always control the story you tell about it. Your words can make you a victim or an author, a prisoner of the past or a builder of the future. So today, choose to become the storyteller of your destiny. Let your inner voice speak not from fear, but from faith. Let your self-talk rise to meet your vision, and let your narrative become a bridge between who you were and who you are becoming. Remember, you are not your past story. You are the author of your next one, and the pen is in your hand. Chapter 3. The Imagination Engine. Everything that has ever existed, every building, every invention, every movement, every dream, began first in the same place, the human imagination. Before there was the airplane, there was a thought of flight. Before there was a song, there was a melody heard in the mind. Before there was a life transformed, there was a picture of what could be. You and I possess that same power. Imagination is not daydreaming. It is the engine of creation. It's the workshop where your inner world begins to design the outer one. The tragedy is that most people use this divine power unconsciously. They imagine fears instead of goals, failures instead of futures, pain instead of possibility. And the mind, being obedient, creates what it sees most vividly. The universe does not distinguish between what you imagine in fear or in faith. It simply reflects what you give energy to. That's why this chapter matters. Because when you learn to use your imagination deliberately, you stop reacting to life and start designing it. Imagine an athlete preparing for the Olympics. Every day, she practices on the field, but every night, she practices in her mind. She closes her eyes and visualizes the perfect performance. The sound of the crowd, the rhythm of her steps, the feeling of victory. Her body relaxes, her breathing deepens, her mind enters flow. When the day of competition arrives, it feels familiar. She has already been there in her imagination. This is not fantasy, it's neuroscience. Studies from Harvard and Stanford have shown that mental rehearsal can activate the same brain regions as physical practice. In one famous study, 2 groups of participants were tested on piano skills. One group practiced on a real piano. The other simply visualized playing it. After 5 days, both groups improved, almost equally. Your brain does not know the difference between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. This means that every time you visualize your goals with emotion and clarity, you are training your brain for success before it happens. Visualization is not wishing. It's rehearsing reality. Now let's go deeper. Many people visualize, but few do it effectively. They close their eyes, see an image, and think that's enough. But the real secret lies not in what you see, but in what you feel. Emotion is the energy that turns imagination into manifestation. Think of your feelings as the electricity that powers your mental movie. Without emotion, your visualization is like a film projector with no power. It can play images, but nothing comes alive. When you visualize your dream, you must step into it, not just watch it from afar. Feel the joy, the peace, the pride, the gratitude as if it's already yours. Let your body react, smile, breathe deeper, relax. That emotion is what programs your subconscious mind. Let me give you a real-life example. A young woman named Victoria dreamed of studying abroad. She didn't have the money or the grades yet, but she refused to give up. Every night, she closed her eyes and imagined herself walking through the campus gates of her dream university. She felt the excitement of holding her admission letter, heard the sound of her suitcase wheels rolling over the pavement, smelled the air of a new country. She didn't just visualize the image, she felt it. Months later, an unexpected scholarship opened up, one she hadn't even applied for directly. Her grades improved, her confidence grew, and the rest fell into place. When she arrived at that campus for real, she laughed and said, "It feels like I've been here before." That's the power of emotional visualization. The body and mind align, and life moves to match their frequency. To make your imagination truly magnetic, engage all your senses. The more real it feels, the more powerful its effect on your subconscious. Here are 5 sensory keys to deepen your visualization practice. 1. See it clearly. Close your eyes and paint a scene in detail. Where are you? What colors do you see? What are you wearing? Who's around you? The clearer the image, the stronger the imprint. 2. Hear the sounds. Add sound to your vision. If you're visualizing success, what do you hear? Applause, laughter, the ocean, your own calm breathing. Sound adds realism. 3. Feel the texture. Feel the sensations, the warmth of the sun, the smooth desk in your new office, the softness of a loved one's hug. Touch makes imagination physical. 4. Smell the air. Smell has a direct link to emotion and memory. Imagine the scent of your dream car, fresh coffee in your new home, or flowers in your dream garden. 5. Taste the victory. Yes, even taste. Imagine that celebratory meal, that morning cup of success. Taste anchors the emotion in your body. When you use all your senses, your brain starts treating the vision as memory, not fantasy, and your subconscious begins working to make it true. Your subconscious mind operates on repetition and imagery. It constantly builds connections between what you imagine and what you experience. That's why fear can create physical symptoms. Your body believes the danger is real because you keep picturing it. The reverse is also true. If you imagine confidence, your posture improves. If you imagine health, your body relaxes. If you imagine opportunity, your brain starts spotting it everywhere. Visualization literally primes your reticular activating system, the part of your brain that filters reality. Once you give it a clear target, it starts showing you opportunities that match your vision. So, when you visualize abundance, you're not forcing the universe. You're training your awareness to align with it. The more you practice, the more effortless it becomes. Let's talk about Michael, a small business owner who nearly lost everything during an economic downturn. He was deep in debt and surrounded by fear. But instead of giving up, he began every morning with a 5-minute visualization. He imagined himself standing in a new office, shaking hands with clients, seeing positive numbers on his account, and feeling relief and pride. He didn't just picture the success. He felt it, every morning, as if it were happening. Gradually, he began to notice new ideas and connections that aligned with that image. He pivoted his business, changed his branding, and within a year, rebuilt his company stronger than before. He once told me, "I built my business twice, once in my mind, then in real life." That's what imagination does. It builds your world before the world sees it. Let's turn principle into practice. This is your power visualization ritual, a short daily exercise to align your vibration with your vision. Step 1. Center 1 minute. Find a quiet space. Sit or stand comfortably. Close your eyes and take slow, deep breaths. With every breath, imagine releasing stress and tension. You're clearing your inner space for creation. Step 2. Picture 1 minute. Visualize your desired outcome as clearly as possible. See it in vivid color. Yourself living the life you desire. Be specific. What are you doing? Who's there? What's happening? Step 3. Feel 1 minute. Now step into that scene. Feel the emotion, gratitude, joy, confidence. Let it fill your whole body. Smile if you can. This is the emotional charge that powers your imagination. Step 4. Affirm 1 minute. Repeat a sentence that affirms your vision. Examples. I am becoming a magnet for success and peace. I am living in alignment with abundance. Everything I need is already within me. Speak it with energy and belief. Step 5. Release 1 minute. Let go. Open your eyes and carry that emotion into your day. Don't chase the vision. Live as if it's already forming. This 5-minute ritual is not about forcing reality. It's about tuning your vibration so that reality can meet you halfway. Here's the truth. The most powerful tool you have is not your circumstance. It's your imagination. You are always visualizing something. The question is, are you doing it by default or by design? For the next 7 days, I challenge you to practice this ritual every morning. Don't worry about perfection. Just show up with intention. At the end of the week, notice how your emotions shift, how you begin to feel calmer, more focused, more magnetic. Because when your imagination and emotion move together, the universe responds. Imagination is not escape, it is creation. Every dream you see inside you is a preview of what you're capable of bringing into the world. When you close your eyes and see yourself thriving, healing, loving, succeeding, you're not pretending. You're remembering your potential. So, the next time you doubt your dream, pause and visualize it again. Feel it in your bones. See it as if it's already happening. Because what you rehearse in your mind, you will one day walk out in your life. You are not waiting for the world to change. The world is waiting for you to imagine something new. Say this with me now. I am becoming the author, the artist, and the architect of my reality. And every time you use your imagination with faith, you are turning that truth into form. Part 2. The emotional alchemy, feeling yourself into power. If your thoughts are the blueprint of your becoming, your emotions are the electricity that brings the design to life. You can think the most positive thoughts, visualize the perfect future, and speak powerful affirmations every day. But without emotion, those thoughts remain ink on paper. Emotion is the fire that turns ideas into movement, the bridge between the invisible and the visible, the mind and the material. Every great change begins not just with new thoughts, but with a new emotional frequency. The truth is, your emotions are energy in motion emotion. They are signals from your inner world, guiding you toward or away from alignment with who you really are. When you feel joy, peace, and gratitude, you are vibrating at the level of creation. When you feel fear, doubt, or shame, your energy contracts, cutting off the natural flow of abundance that wants to reach you. But here's the power most people overlook. You are not a victim of emotion. You are its alchemist. Just as ancient alchemists sought to turn lead into gold, you have the power to transform heavy emotions, fear, rejection, anger, and pain, into wisdom, strength, and faith. This is emotional alchemy, the art of turning inner resistance into radiant power. In this section, you will learn how to feel on purpose, to use emotion as a creative tool rather than a reaction. You will discover how joy becomes a magnet, how gratitude rewires the brain, how resilience transmutes pain into purpose, and how faith activates the flow of abundance. Each chapter in this part is a step deeper into your emotional intelligence, not the kind that hides or suppresses feelings, but the kind that channels them into energy that serves your evolution. Because the truth is, becoming is not just about what you think. It's about what you feel deeply enough to believe. When your emotions and thoughts align, creation becomes effortless. This is the heart of transformation, where you stop forcing outcomes and start flowing with power. Welcome to the emotional alchemy. Here, you will not just think yourself into abundance. You will feel yourself into power. Chapter 4. The Emotional Frequency of Abundance. If thought is the seed of creation, emotion is the water that makes it grow. You can think positive thoughts all day long, repeat affirmations, visualize success, write goals. But if your emotions are rooted in fear, worry, or doubt, it's like planting a garden and then pouring poison into the soil. Here's the truth most people miss about the law of attraction. It's not your thoughts that attract, it's your emotional frequency. The universe doesn't respond to what you say you want. It responds to the energy you live in. Emotion is vibration, and vibration is communication. You are broadcasting your emotional state every moment, through your words, your body language, your tone, and your presence. And life mirrors it back. When you feel abundant, more opportunities arrive. When you feel fear, more things appear to confirm that fear. When you radiate gratitude, more reasons to be grateful appear. So the question becomes, how can you raise your emotional frequency to match the abundance you desire? That's what this chapter is all about. Let's start with a simple truth. Emotion is energy in motion. It's what gives your thoughts life and momentum. Without emotion, a thought is just an empty shell, like a song with no sound. Think of your mind as a transmitter and your heart as the amplifier. Your thoughts set the direction, but your emotions determine the strength of the signal. If your thoughts say, "I'm successful," but your emotions whisper, "I'm not enough," the heart wins every time. The law of attraction isn't just mental, it's emotional and vibrational. When your heart and mind are in alignment, creation becomes natural. When they're divided, you feel blocked, frustrated, or stuck, no matter how hard you try. That's why so many people say, "I've been visualizing, I've been affirming, but nothing's changing." It's not that the universe isn't listening. It's that the emotional signal is scrambled. Your heart is more than a physical organ. It's an intelligent energy center. Science has shown that the heart produces the strongest electromagnetic field in the body, far greater than the brain's. This means your heart literally broadcasts your emotional frequency into your environment. That's why when you're around someone joyful, you can feel their energy before they even speak. And when someone walks into a room heavy with anger or sadness, you sense it instantly. You're not imagining it. You're feeling the vibration of their emotional field. The same thing happens with you. When your heart is open, when you're aligned with gratitude, love, or joy, you're radiating a high frequency that attracts similar experiences. When your heart is closed, when you're trapped in guilt, fear, or resentment, that vibration repels the very things you're longing for. It's not punishment, it's resonance. Life meets you at the level of your vibration. To manifest abundance, you must become emotionally resonant with it. Let me tell you about Alina, a young musician who dreamed of sharing her songs with the world. She had the talent, the passion, and the vision, but every time she tried to perform, she froze. Her fear of failure created an emotional wall. No matter how much she practiced, her energy was blocked. One day, Her mentor told her something that changed everything. Stop trying to impress. Start expressing. Play from your heart. So she began a simple ritual before every performance. She placed her hand over her heart, took a deep breath, and said, "I'm not here to perform perfectly. I'm here to share joy." Something shifted. Her focus moved from fear to love, from judgment to connection. Within months, her music reached thousands online. She wasn't just playing songs anymore. She was transmitting energy. When she changed her emotional frequency, her entire world changed. That's emotional resonance, creation through the heart. Now, let's talk about the part most people avoid, the inner work. Because before you can raise your emotional frequency, you must first clear what's lowering it. We all carry emotional blocks, fear of rejection, guilt, shame, self-doubt, or memories of failure. These emotions act like static in your energy field. They distort the signal of abundance. You can't build a mansion on a foundation full of cracks. You must first heal the emotional structure underneath. Here's how to start. 1. Acknowledge without judgment. Stop fighting your emotions. When you suppress fear or sadness, you don't destroy them. You bury them alive. Instead, observe your feelings with compassion. Say to yourself, "I see you, I feel you, and I choose to understand you." Awareness begins healing. 2. Identify the story behind the feeling. Every emotion is connected to a story, usually one from your past. Maybe you were told money is hard to earn, or that success means sacrifice, or that love always ends in pain. Ask yourself, what belief is this feeling protecting? When you see the story, you gain the power to rewrite it. 3. Release through movement and breath. Emotion is energy in motion, so let it move. Cry, journal, dance, walk, breathe deeply. Let your body express what your words can't. Release creates space for new energy to enter. 4. Replace with empowered emotion. Once you've acknowledged and released, fill the space consciously. Invite emotions like gratitude, hope, and courage. These are the frequencies of abundance. Healing is not a one-time act. It's a daily practice of emotional honesty. Each time you feel and release, you rise higher in vibration. Consider David, an entrepreneur who lost everything in a market crash. He fell into depression and self-blame, replaying every mistake in his mind. But one morning, after months of struggle, he asked himself, "What if this failure isn't the end? What if it's my initiation into strength?" He began writing daily gratitude notes, not for what he had lost, but for what he was learning. He said, "I'm grateful for resilience. I'm grateful for the chance to rebuild. I'm grateful that I still have life." As he shifted emotionally from despair to appreciation, new ideas began to flow. He launched a smaller, smarter business, one aligned with his values. Within 2 years, he was thriving again. His outer world changed only after his emotional world elevated. Emotion is not weakness, it's the fuel of transformation. Let's make this practical. You can't always control what happens, but you can control the emotional energy you bring to it. Here's a simple exercise to turn heavy emotions into power. Step 1. Name the emotion. When fear or doubt arises, don't run. Pause and name it out loud. This is fear. This is anxiety. This is self-doubt. Naming separates you from the emotion. You're not the storm. You're the sky that holds it. Step 2. Breathe through the feeling. Take slow, deep breaths into your heart area. Imagine each inhale softening the emotion, and each exhale releasing resistance. Your breath resets your nervous system and brings calm awareness. Step 3. Ask the emotion what it needs. Every emotion has a message. Fear might say, "I need safety." Doubt might say, "I need evidence." Sadness might say, "I need rest." Listen, then meet that need with kindness. Step 4. Choose a higher emotion. Now, intentionally shift your focus. Ask, what emotion would serve me better right now? Maybe it's courage. Maybe it's gratitude. Maybe it's peace. Close your eyes and recall a moment when you felt that emotion before. Relive it. Feel it. Amplify it. Let it fill your chest, your breath, your voice. Step 5. Anchor it. Create a simple gesture. Touch your heart. Clench your fist. or say a phrase like, I choose love over fear. I am safe. I am growing. I am becoming. Repeat it until your body believes it. Over time, your emotional frequency resets. Fear loses its grip, and your energy becomes magnetic again. From a psychological perspective, emotions are chemical messages that shape your behavior and perception. Positive emotions like gratitude and joy expand your awareness. Your brain releases dopamine and serotonin, making you more creative and resilient. Negative emotions like fear and shame narrow your focus. Your brain goes into survival mode. This is why gratitude is so powerful. It rewires your brain for abundance by shifting you from survival to creation. Your outer world begins to reflect the inner chemistry you cultivate. So, abundance is not something you chase. It's something you become emotionally aligned with. Let's end with a practice that will raise your emotional vibration instantly. Step 1. Hand on heart. Place your hand gently over your heart. Close your eyes and take 3 slow breaths. Feel your heartbeat, steady, strong, alive. Step 2. Recall gratitude. Think of 3 things you're deeply grateful for. It could be a person, a moment, a simple joy. Feel the warmth in your chest as gratitude expands through your body. Step 3. Send a signal. Now imagine that warmth radiating out from your heart like light, filling your home, your relationships, your goals, your future. Say to yourself, I am a magnet for abundance because I live in gratitude. I attract with ease what I feel with love. Take one more deep breath, smile, and open your eyes. You've just tuned yourself to the frequency of abundance. Here's the great secret. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. And what you are is revealed not by your words, but by your emotional vibration. If you want abundance, become abundance in emotion, generous, joyful, grateful. If you want love, become love in frequency, open, kind, radiant. If you want peace, become peace in energy, calm, trusting, surrendered. The outer world mirrors the inner atmosphere. So from this day forward, don't ask only, what do I want to achieve? Ask also, what do I choose to feel today? Because the moment you align your heart with your highest emotion, the universe begins aligning everything else around you. Say it aloud. I am becoming the emotional frequency of abundance itself. And when you live that truth, everything you once chased begins to find you. Chapter 5. Gratitude, Joy, and the Energy of Receiving. If the law of attraction had a heartbeat, it would sound like gratitude. Gratitude is not just saying thank you. It is a vibration, a frequency of completeness that tells the universe, I already have enough. And here's the paradox. The moment you feel you already have enough, life begins to give you more. You see, many people try to attract abundance from a place of lack. They say, when I get more money, I'll be grateful. But the universe doesn't respond to words. It responds to energy. When your energy says, I don't have it yet, you stay in waiting. But when your energy says, I already feel blessed, you become magnetic. Gratitude and joy are not emotional decorations. They are vibrational technologies. They tune your inner frequency to the rhythm of abundance. When you learn to live in gratitude, not occasionally, but as a state of being, you unlock one of the greatest secrets of creation. You cannot receive what you are not emotionally ready for. Gratitude makes you ready. Joy keeps you open. Together, they make you a vessel large enough to hold all that you've been asking for. Let's begin with the science, because gratitude is not just feel-good advice, it is neurological truth. Neuroscience shows that when you practice gratitude consistently, the brain releases dopamine and serotonin, chemicals responsible for happiness and motivation. Over time, this rewires your neural pathways to notice more good, even in small moments. It's called neuroplasticity. Your brain literally reshapes itself according to what you focus on. That means gratitude doesn't just make you feel good for a moment. It changes the structure of your brain. You begin to see opportunities where you once saw problems. You begin to expect blessings instead of setbacks. And that shift in expectation creates new actions and new results. Spiritually, gratitude does something even more profound. It creates alignment. It closes the gap between desire and reality by placing you in the same vibration as the thing you desire. You're no longer sending out the signal of "I need." You're broadcasting "I already have." And because the universe is responsive to energy, it mirrors that wholeness back to you in physical form, through people, opportunities, or synchronicities. Gratitude tells the universe, "I am open. I am ready. I am already blessed." And the universe answers, "Then let me show you how much more there is to receive." Imagine you've just finished a long journey, maybe climbing a mountain or completing a big project. You sit down, look back, and breathe deeply. That feeling of satisfaction, that deep yes inside your chest, that's the vibration of completion. Gratitude is that same feeling, practiced daily. It's saying, "I am whole, even as I grow. I am fulfilled, even as I reach for more." When you live from that energy, you stop chasing abundance. You invite it. You stop grasping for success. You grow into it. That's the real magic of gratitude. It shifts your energy from wanting to welcoming. And joy. Joy is the natural side effect of that alignment. Let me tell you about Marissa, a public school teacher I once coached. She was hardworking, but constantly stressed, juggling bills, paperwork, and exhaustion. One day she told me, "I'm just tired of being grateful for crumbs. I need a real breakthrough." I asked her to start small. A 3-minute gratitude ritual every morning. Before checking her phone, she would close her eyes, place her hand over her heart, and say 3 things she was thankful for, even tiny ones. The sunlight through her window, a student's smile, a cup of tea. At first, it felt forced. But within weeks, her energy shifted. Her mood lifted. Her students responded better. She found herself laughing again, the first real laughter she'd had in years. 2 months later, she was offered a new position at a better-paying school, with less stress and more creative freedom. Coincidence? Maybe. But I've seen this pattern repeat thousands of times. When gratitude becomes your default vibration, your external reality reorganizes to match your inner joy. Here's a truth that will change how you create. You don't wait for joy, you generate it. Most people reverse this process. They think, "When I get the promotion, I'll be happy." But joy isn't the reward. It's the magnet. To live as if means to feel the emotion of having what you desire before it arrives. To act, speak, and carry yourself as the person who already has it. That's not pretending, it's alignment. When you feel the joy now, you tell your subconscious mind, "This reality is safe and familiar." Your brain begins to filter experiences that match that emotional state. Opportunities that once looked impossible suddenly seem within reach. Let's make this practical. If you're working toward financial freedom, act as if, by feeling secure before the money comes. If you're attracting love, feel lovable before the relationship appears. If you're building confidence, walk, breathe, and speak like someone who already believes. You're training your nervous system to vibrate at the frequency of abundance. That vibration pulls the external reality into alignment. This is how you turn waiting into becoming. Let's explore a practice I call the gratitude loop. It's simple, powerful, and works every time you feel disconnected or doubtful. Step 1. Notice one good thing right now. Look around. Maybe it's your breath. Maybe it's your home. Maybe it's the sound of life around you. Say quietly, "Thank you for this." Step 2. Feel it deeply. Don't rush the feeling. Close your eyes and imagine that gratitude expanding through your whole body like warm sunlight. Feel it in your heart, in your chest, in your breath. Step 3. Let it flow outward. Now imagine that warmth flowing outward, toward the people you love, the challenges you face, the dreams you're building. Whisper, "Thank you for what's on the way." This simple loop trains your emotional body to stay in a state of receiving. You're no longer asking from emptiness. You're celebrating from fullness. Psychologists have discovered something remarkable about gratitude. It not only changes how you see life, it changes how you feel life. When you regularly focus on appreciation, your mind shifts from survival mode to creative mode. Your stress hormones decrease. Your empathy and optimism rise. It's not that problems disappear. It's that your capacity to handle them expands. Appreciation opens the mind, relaxes the body, and strengthens the heart. When you appreciate what you have, you signal to your subconscious, I am safe, I am provided for, I am capable. That message becomes your emotional truth, and your emotional truth becomes your physical reality. Consider a young entrepreneur named Leo. For years, he worked tirelessly to grow his business, but nothing seemed to stick. Every client felt like a battle. Every month ended in stress. When we talked, I asked, Leo, do you ever stop to celebrate what's working? He laughed. Celebrate? There's nothing to celebrate yet. That was his breakthrough moment. He began a new habit. Every night before bed, he wrote down 3 small wins, not big ones, small. A kind review from a customer, a good conversation, a creative idea. After 30 days, he told me, I don't know how to explain it. I feel lighter. Clients are finding me without much effort. Of course they were. He had shifted from pushing to receiving. Gratitude didn't just change his business, it changed his vibration. Joy is the energy of openness. When you're joyful, you're relaxed, trusting, and magnetic. When you're anxious, you're closed, tense, and resistant. Think of abundance like sunlight. It's always shining. Gratitude opens the blinds. Joy throws the window wide open. Joy is not naive. It's not about ignoring pain or pretending everything is perfect. Joy is choosing to believe that good is still possible, even when life feels uncertain. That choice keeps your frequency high and your heart receptive. And that's when life begins to pour in blessings you didn't even plan for. Let's make this a living practice. Each morning, before you touch your phone or think about your to-do list, take 3 minutes to tune your vibration. Step 1. Hand on heart, 1 minute. Close your eyes and place your hand over your heart. Take 3 deep breaths. Feel your heart beating, that steady rhythm of life. Whisper, thank you for this new day. Step 2. Speak gratitude, 1 minute. Say 3 things you're grateful for. They can be big or small. The roof over your head, the person who loves you, the air you breathe. Let each one sink in. Step 3. Feel the joy, 1 minute. Now imagine one thing you desire already coming true. See it clearly. Feel the joy of it as if it has already happened. Smile. Let that joy expand through your entire body. You've just aligned your vibration to the energy of receiving. That 3-minute ritual is like charging your spiritual battery every morning. Do it daily, and you'll start to notice. People respond differently. Opportunities unfold, and peace becomes your default state. Here's what I want you to remember. Gratitude is the language of abundance. Joy is its melody. Together, they create the song of receiving. The universe is always offering, always giving, but you can only receive at the level you're emotionally open to. So instead of asking, when will I receive my blessing? Ask, how much gratitude can I feel right now? Because the more grateful you are, the more you align with life's generosity. Say this with me. I am thankful now, joyful now, open now. I am ready to receive what matches my gratitude. Every time you choose gratitude over fear, joy over worry, faith over doubt, you rise to a higher frequency. And from that frequency, everything you've been waiting for begins to move toward you. So wake up each morning with one thought. Today, I choose gratitude. Today, I am ready to receive. And watch, as the energy of abundance flows to you, through you, and as you. Chapter 6. The Emotional Reset, Turning Setbacks into Power. There comes a moment in every journey when everything you've built starts to crumble. A dream collapses. A plan fails. A relationship ends. A door slams shut. And in that moment, most people think, I've lost everything. But what if I told you that very collapse is not the end of your story? It's the refinement of it. Setbacks don't destroy your power. They reveal it. Pain doesn't weaken you. It wakes you. Every time life breaks you open, it's giving you a chance to build a stronger, wiser version of yourself. The truth is, abundance is not built on comfort. It's built on resilience, the emotional strength to keep your heart open even when it hurts. So today, we'll talk about how to do something extraordinary. Not just survive your setbacks, but alchemize them. Turn your pain into fuel, your rejection into redirection, and your loss into power. Because life is not testing you, it's training you. Most people see rejection, failure, and loss as signs that something went wrong. But in truth, they're signs that something is being refined. Think about it. Before gold can shine, it must go through fire. Before a seed can grow, it must crack open. Before a sword becomes sharp, it must be struck again and again. You are no different. When you go through a hard season, when things don't go as planned, life is not punishing you. It's preparing you. It's polishing the parts of you that were not yet ready for the level you asked for. You said you wanted strength. Life gave you challenge. You said you wanted confidence. Life gave you rejection to teach self-belief. You said you wanted purpose. Life took away comfort to reveal direction. That's refinement. And the moment you reframe a setback this way, something powerful happens inside you. You stop asking, why me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? That question turns pain into progress. Because every time you shift your perspective, you shift your vibration. And your vibration, your emotional frequency, determines what you attract next. Let's look at someone we all know, Serena Williams. After giving birth, she faced health complications that nearly ended her career. Many counted her out. Some even said, she'll never be the same again. But Serena didn't just recover, she came back stronger. In interviews, she said that motherhood, struggle, and even loss changed her. They taught her patience, discipline, and grace under pressure. She didn't see her setback as a sentence, she saw it as schooling. That's the emotional reset. Instead of fighting what happens, you use it. You let it shape your strength, rather than steal your spirit. Every champion, every visionary, every great creator has mastered this art, turning what broke them into what built them. Let's talk about emotional resilience, the ability to recover, refocus, and rise when things fall apart. Resilience is not about pretending you're fine. It's about feeling everything fully, and still choosing to move forward. Emotionally resilient people don't suppress their feelings, they process them. They allow sadness to move through them, anger to express safely, and grief to teach wisdom. And because they don't resist emotion, they don't get trapped in it. In psychology, we know that emotion is energy in motion. If you block that motion, if you hold on to guilt, resentment, or shame, that energy stagnates and becomes heavy. But when you allow it to move, when you breathe, express, journal, or pray through it, that energy transforms. You go from being stuck in your pain to being strengthened by it. That's emotional alignment. You're not denying what you feel. You're directing it. You can't always control what happens, but you can always choose how to respond. And that choice determines your power. Now, I want to teach you a powerful technique that can change your emotional state almost instantly. I call it the emotional pivot. Think of your emotions like a compass. They tell you which direction you're facing energetically. When you're in fear, guilt, or frustration, you're facing away from abundance. When you're in peace, gratitude, or love, you're aligned with abundance. The emotional pivot helps you turn the compass quickly. It takes less than 90 seconds. Here's how it works. Step 1. Acknowledge the emotion 30 seconds. Stop fighting how you feel. Say to yourself, I feel angry, or I feel afraid. Naming your emotion activates the rational part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, and reduces emotional intensity. It's like shining light on a shadow. It stops controlling you. Step 2. Breathe and create space, 30 seconds. Take 3 deep breaths. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. As you breathe out, imagine releasing the emotional weight. Let your shoulders drop. Feel the tension leave your body. This interrupts the emotional storm and brings you back to the present. Step 3. Reframe and reclaim power, 30 seconds. Ask, what else could this mean? Or, how could this situation be working for me? Maybe the rejection was redirection. Maybe the delay was protection. Maybe the failure was foundation. When you reframe the story, you shift your emotional frequency from helplessness to empowerment. That's how you pivot. From pain to purpose, from stress to strength, from breakdown to breakthrough. You don't need hours of meditation to do this. You just need presence, breath, and a new meaning. Let's make this real. Imagine you've just lost your job. The fear hits. The mind starts to spiral. What if I can't pay my bills? What if I fail? Pause. Use the emotional pivot. Acknowledge, I feel scared. Breathe deeply 3 times. Then reframe. Maybe this is my chance to build something that truly fits my purpose. That small shift changes everything. Instead of drowning in fear, you rise in faith. Your vibration changes, and so do your ideas, actions, and outcomes. Suddenly, you notice a new opportunity. You send that one message. You take that one risk. And the momentum begins again. Pain was not the end. It was the push. Let me tell you about Jonah, a young musician I once mentored. He was on the verge of signing a record deal when a throat injury silenced him for months. He was devastated. His identity, his dreams, his passion, all gone overnight. But in that silence, something else emerged. He started writing lyrics, raw, powerful, honest. His pain became poetry. His music deepened. When he recovered, his new songs touched millions, not because they were perfect, but because they were real. Jonah told me, losing my voice gave me something better, authenticity. That's emotional alchemy, turning pain into wisdom, loss into depth, and delay into destiny. Failure has a hidden gift, clarity. When you fail, you learn what doesn't work, what matters most, and who you really are when the lights go out. Failure doesn't take away your worth, it reveals it. It strips away illusion, ego, and fear, and shows you the raw material of your true self. Every person who has achieved greatness, from Oprah to Elon Musk, has been broken by failure at some point. But what separates them from the rest is that they didn't let the story end there. They used their setbacks as stepping stones, lessons that shaped their next level. So ask yourself today, what if everything that fell apart was simply making space for what's next? Now let's close this chapter with a power shift exercise, a simple daily practice to turn pain into progress. Step 1. The pause. When something painful happens, stop and breathe. Resist the urge to react immediately. Give yourself 60 seconds of stillness. In that pause, you reclaim control. Step 2. The question. Ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? This single question changes your vibration from victimhood to awareness. Step 3. The declaration. Speak this out loud. I choose to grow from this. I choose to rise higher because of this. This pain will become my power. Then take one small action. Write the lesson down. Call someone. Apply for something new. Or simply smile at your own courage. That action anchors your new vibration. Each time you repeat this practice, you strengthen your emotional muscles. You become unshakable, not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. Remember this truth. Your power is not built in the easy seasons. It's forged in the fires you thought would destroy you. Every setback is a sacred invitation to rise higher. Every disappointment is life whispering, you're ready for more. So the next time you face pain, don't run from it. Breathe into it, listen to it, and then transform it. Say to yourself, I am not broken. I am being refined. Every challenge is preparing me for my next level. My pain is becoming power. Because in the law of becoming, nothing is ever wasted. Not your tears, not your failures, not your heartbreak. They are all part of the same divine process, turning you into who you were always meant to become. Part 3. The physical manifestation, acting yourself into reality. Thought creates the blueprint. Emotion charges the blueprint with energy. But it is action that builds the world you see. This is the moment when dreams stop being ideas and start becoming reality. When your inner world steps into form. Every manifestation, every breakthrough, every miracle you've ever witnessed began when someone decided to act in alignment with what they believed. In the physical realm, action is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. It's how thought takes form. It's how energy becomes matter. And yet, so many people stay stuck at the level of thinking and feeling, waiting for perfect timing, clearer signs, or greater confidence before moving forward. But alignment doesn't wait. You move, and life moves with you. In this section, you'll learn the sacred science of doing, not through force, but through flow. You'll discover how inspired action differs from busy action, and why faith without movement keeps potential frozen in thought. We'll explore how your surroundings, your habits, and your physical environment either amplify or dilute your vibration. You'll see that manifestation isn't magic, it's momentum. Every small, aligned action sends a ripple into the universe, saying, "I am ready." And the universe always responds. This part of your journey is about embodiment. It's where you stop rehearsing the life you desire and start living it now. You'll learn to act as if, not pretending, but becoming. You'll see that your body, your words, and your choices are instruments of creation, constantly signaling your frequency to the field of reality. This is where thought, feeling, and being merge into one unstoppable current, a living declaration that says, "I am no longer becoming. I am." In the physical manifestation, you will learn how to walk with intention, move with power, and build your world through conscious, confident action. Because manifestation isn't something that happens to you. It's something that happens through you. Welcome to the next level of becoming. It's time to act yourself into reality. Chapter 7. The Physics of Faith, Action as Energy. Have you ever believed in something with your whole heart, but nothing seemed to happen? You prayed, you visualized, you affirmed, and still, the result never showed up. You started to wonder, is the law of attraction even real? Why do I still feel stuck? Here's the truth most people miss. Belief alone doesn't move mountains, action does. You can think positive thoughts all day long, but if those thoughts don't translate into movement, your energy stays static. And in a universe built on vibration, static energy creates no change. Faith is not a waiting room. Faith is a workshop. It's the point where what you believe becomes what you build. So today, we'll talk about the physics of faith, how thought, emotion, and action work together like electricity, generating the power that magnetizes your desires into form. Because real manifestation isn't magic, it's energy meeting effort, and belief meeting behavior. Let's start with a universal truth. Energy moves through motion. A thought is energy. A feeling is energy. But only action anchors that energy into reality. Think of your belief like a spark. It lights the flame, but it's your action that keeps the fire alive. When you take a step, no matter how small, you send a powerful signal to the universe that says, "I am ready. I am willing. I believe enough to move." That's when momentum begins. Faith without action is like electricity without wiring. It has potential, but no path to flow through. Action is the conductor that channels belief into results. The moment you act, your vibration shifts from wishing to becoming. Let's take a real example. When Oprah Winfrey was just starting out, she didn't know she'd become one of the most influential voices in the world. She didn't wait until she felt ready. She took imperfect steps. Every small action, every broadcast, every risk aligned her more deeply with her purpose. She once said, "I believe luck is preparation meeting opportunity." That's the physics of faith, the meeting point between energy and movement. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to start moving in the direction of your belief. Because the universe doesn't respond to what you say you want. It responds to what you do about it. Imagine 3 gears in a machine. Each one represents a vital part of your creative power. Thought, emotion, and action. When all 3 move together, you create momentum that cannot be stopped. But if one gear is stuck, if you think positive thoughts but act from fear, or if you take action without emotional belief, the system jams. Let's break this synergy down. Thought sets the direction. It's the mental blueprint, the vision of what you want. Without thought, you move blindly. Emotion gives it power. Feelings add vibration and magnetism. Without emotion, thoughts are empty. Action grounds it into the physical world. It's the bridge between imagination and experience. Without action, energy floats without purpose. When these 3 align, when your thoughts are clear, your emotions are high, and your actions are consistent, you become unstoppable. That alignment is the difference between wishing for change and embodying it. In psychology, this is known as cognitive behavioral alignment, the idea that our beliefs, feelings, and behaviors must reinforce each other for transformation to stick. Spiritually, it's the same principle. As within, so without. When your inner state and outer behavior agree, reality must follow. Here's something few people understand. You don't need motivation to start. You need momentum. Motivation is like a spark. It burns bright for a moment, then fades when life gets hard. Momentum is like a current. Once it starts, it keeps moving, even when you don't feel like it. So, how do you create momentum? Through clarity and consistent motion. Clarity gives your mind direction. Motion gives your energy purpose. The problem for many people is they wait for motivation before taking action. But the truth is, action creates motivation, not the other way around. When you move, even a little, your brain releases dopamine, the feel-good chemical that fuels more action. That's why the first step is always the hardest, not because it's big, but because it breaks inertia. Once you move, momentum carries you forward. Let's take an example. Imagine a writer who wants to write a book. They sit there, waiting for inspiration. Days pass. Nothing. Then one day they say, "I'll just write for 5 minutes." That 5 minutes becomes 30. Tomorrow it's an hour. Soon, they've built a habit, and eventually a masterpiece. That's momentum, faith in motion. Don't wait for the perfect mood or the perfect moment. The act of moving creates the conditions you've been waiting for. I once coached a young woman named Alicia. She worked in a job she didn't love, but had a dream to start a wellness brand. She believed deeply in her vision. She journaled, visualized, affirmed every day. But she never took action because of fear. What if I fail? What if no one buys? Then one day, I asked her a simple question. What would faith look like if it had legs? She paused. Then she said, it would post the website. It would tell one person about the idea. That day, she launched a small online store, just one product, imperfectly photographed. Within a week, she sold 10. Within a year, her brand grew into a 6-figure business. Her secret? She didn't wait for confidence. She acted herself into it. Action amplifies belief. It turns invisible faith into visible evidence. The universe meets you at the level of your movement. Now let's talk about how to act from intuition, not fear. Because not all action is created equal. Some people hustle from fear, trying to force results, overwork, or control outcomes. That energy repels what they want. Inspired action, however, flows from clarity and alignment. It feels natural, guided, and expansive, not frantic. Here's a simple framework to help you recognize and practice inspired action. Step 1. Connect. Tune into inner guidance. Before acting, pause and breathe. Ask yourself, what feels aligned right now? When action is inspired, it comes with a sense of inner yes. It might feel exciting, calm, or quietly certain, but never forced. This connection comes from presence, from being still enough to hear your intuition through the noise of fear. Step 2. Clarify. What do you want to feel? Most people chase things, not feelings. But true manifestation happens when you act in ways that create the feeling of your desired reality. Ask, what emotion would I feel if I already had what I wanted? Joy, freedom, confidence. Then choose an action that makes you feel that today. That's alignment in motion. Step 3. Commit. Take the next small step. Faith doesn't require giant leaps, just consistent steps. Ask, what can I do today that moves me forward, even by 1 inch? Send the email. Make the call. Start the workout. Record the video. Every small action compounds into momentum. Remember, clarity creates direction. Consistency creates power. Step 4. Celebrate. Reinforce the vibration. Each time you act in faith, celebrate it. Don't wait for the big result. Affirm the small win. Celebration signals your brain that you're succeeding, releasing more dopamine and reinforcing confidence. Say out loud, I'm proud of myself for moving. Every action counts. I am in motion toward abundance. That's how you build faith into habit, and habit into destiny. The science behind action and energy. Now, let's ground this principle in psychology and physics. From a psychological perspective, action rewires belief. When you act on a new identity, say, someone confident or abundant, your brain starts to build evidence to support it. Neural pathways strengthen around that identity, and over time, it becomes your new normal. In neuroscience, this is known as Hebbian learning. Neurons that fire together wire together. So each action taken from faith reinforces faith. From a physics perspective, motion generates energy. An object at rest stays at rest. An object in motion stays in motion. That's Newton's first law. The same applies to you. The moment you move, even slightly, you awaken energy that keeps you moving forward. That's why the first call, the first post, the first step always matters most. It breaks inertia. So whether you're a student starting a dream, a parent rebuilding hope, or a leader navigating change, remember this. Faith is energy, and energy flows through movement. Faith isn't still. Faith walks, builds, speaks, and acts. You were never meant to wait for miracles. You were meant to move with them. Every time you act from belief, not fear, not doubt, but belief, you create a new ripple in your reality. That ripple grows into momentum. That momentum becomes manifestation. So from this moment forward, declare this truth. My faith is motion. My belief has energy. Every step I take is a signal to the universe that I am ready. I am no longer waiting for abundance. I am walking toward it. And as you do, watch how doors begin to open. Not because the world suddenly changed, but because you did. Chapter 8. The Power of Environment and Energy. Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt heavy, even though no one said a word? Or stepped into another place, maybe a quiet park, a sunlit cafe, or a clean, bright space, and felt your whole spirit lift? That's not your imagination. That's energy, and your environment is always speaking to it. Your surroundings are not silent. They whisper to your subconscious, shape your vibration, and influence what you attract. Every object, every sound, every person carries a frequency that either feeds your becoming or drains it. If your energy is the seed of your life, your environment is the soil. You can plant the best intentions, but if the soil is toxic, the seed will struggle to grow. This chapter is about mastering your atmosphere, because to rise higher, you must live in alignment with the energy of where you're going, not where you've been. Let's begin with a simple truth. You don't just live in your environment lives in you. From a psychological point of view, your brain constantly absorbs cues from your surroundings. Colors affect your emotions. Sounds alter your stress levels. Clutter drains focus and creativity. And even the people around you influence your self-worth and energy. Science calls this environmental conditioning, the way your external world trains your internal state. Spiritually, it's energy alignment, the way vibration mirrors vibration. If you spend your time in chaos, you begin to think in chaos. If you surround yourself with order, beauty, and purpose, your thoughts rise to match it. Have you ever noticed how productive you feel in a clean, well-lit room, and how tired you become in a cluttered one? It's because your environment is not neutral. It constantly interacts with your nervous system. Your outer world either tells your mind, you are safe, supported, and abundant, or it whispers, you are overwhelmed, stuck, and limited. So before trying to change your life, pause and ask, what does my environment say about who I believe I am? Because every detail, your desk, your clothes, your conversations, is a mirror of your current vibration. And here's the empowering part. You can redesign it, consciously, beautifully, intentionally. Everything around you carries a frequency, from the people you spend time with to the music you listen to. Energy is contagious. When you sit with confident people, your energy rises. When you spend time around constant complainers, your vibration drops. Psychologists call this emotional contagion, the unconscious transfer of emotions between people. Spiritually, we call it resonance. You attract what you are in harmony with. If you hang around fear, you start thinking cautiously. If you surround yourself with creativity, you begin to dream bigger. If your home feels peaceful and open, you start to feel that way inside. Energy always seeks alignment. So ask yourself, is my environment aligned with the life I'm calling in, or the life I'm trying to outgrow? Because sometimes the biggest block to your next level isn't inside you, it's around you. Detoxing your space, relationships, and habits. Before you can fill your environment with new, abundant energy, you have to clear the old. This is what I call energetic detoxing, the practice of removing what contradicts your becoming. Let's look at 3 areas: spaces, relationships, and habits. 1. Detox your spaces. Clutter isn't just physical, it's emotional. Every item you keep holds a small piece of your attention. Old papers, clothes you no longer wear, objects tied to painful memories. All of these carry emotional residue that lowers your vibration. When you release them, you create space for new energy to flow. Start small. Choose 1 drawer, 1 corner, 1 closet. As you clear, say to yourself, I release what no longer represents who I am becoming. This is not just cleaning, it's energetic alignment in action. Your environment should reflect your desired future, not your outdated past. 2. Detox your relationships. Some relationships nourish your soul, others drain it. And you always know the difference by how you feel after being with someone. If you leave an interaction feeling small, anxious, or unseen, that's a sign of energetic dissonance. It doesn't mean you must cut everyone off, but it does mean you should choose presence with purpose. Spend more time with people who challenge you to grow, who celebrate your light, who believe in your dreams. You don't need thousands of people, just a few who see the greatness in you even when you forget it yourself. Because energy shared is energy multiplied. 3. Detox your habits. Your habits are also part of your environment. The music you listen to, the content you consume, the way you start and end your day. Each one either elevates your frequency or lowers it. For example, if you start your morning scrolling through bad news, your vibration instantly drops. If you begin with gratitude, movement, and light, your energy rises before the world even touches you. Audit your habits. Ask, does this feed my becoming, or does it numb it? You don't attract what you want. You attract what you vibrate. And vibration is the sum of your surroundings and your patterns. Designing an abundance environment. Now let's talk about how to consciously design a space and lifestyle that anchors abundance. This doesn't require luxury, it requires intention. Abundance is not about how expensive something is. It's about how energetically rich it feels. Let's explore 3 layers of design: sight, sound, and symbolism. 1. Sight. What you see shapes what you feel. Your eyes are gateways to your emotions. What you see daily programs your subconscious mind. Surround yourself with visuals that lift you. That might mean soft light, plants, art, vision boards, or affirmations. If your home feels dull, add color and order. If your workspace feels chaotic, simplify it. Make your environment reflect beauty and clarity, because your mind becomes what it sees most often. Remember, the outside should be a reflection of your inside, and your inside will soon mirror your outside. 2. Sound. Tune your frequency. Sound is vibration, and vibration shapes mood. Play music that uplifts you, not just entertains you. Nature sounds, instrumental music, affirmations. These help you maintain a calm, abundant frequency. Notice how certain songs instantly shift your emotion. That's energy reprogramming itself through sound. Even silence is power, because silence allows your intuition to speak. So ask yourself, what sounds fill my space, and what are they teaching my energy to feel? 3. Symbolism. Energy speaks through meaning. Everything in your space carries symbolic meaning. A cracked mirror, a dead plant, broken items, all subtly reinforce lack and stagnation. Replacing them sends a clear signal to your subconscious. I deserve care, beauty, and order. You can use positive symbols intentionally. A candle to represent clarity. A plant to symbolize growth. A crystal, quote, or photo that reminds you of your purpose. These are not superstitions. They're energetic anchors. They remind your nervous system daily of the vibration you choose to live in. Your environment becomes a silent affirmation of your future. I once worked with an artist named Maria. She was talented but constantly blocked. Her studio was filled with unfinished canvases, scattered supplies, and emotional weight from years of self-doubt. She told me, "Every time I walk into my studio, I feel tired before I even start." We didn't talk about talent. We talked about environment. I asked her to spend one weekend clearing and resetting her space. She let go of everything that reminded her of past failure. She repainted her walls, brought in light, organized her materials, and placed a single phrase above her easel. Create from peace, not pressure. Within a month, her energy changed, and so did her art. She began painting with joy again. A year later, she held her first solo exhibition. The art didn't change because her skill changed. It changed because her energy did, and her environment reflected that new frequency. Crafting your abundance atmosphere. Now let's bring these ideas into your daily life. Here's a simple 3-step process to help you create an environment that aligns with your highest self. Step 1. Awareness. Audit your atmosphere. Walk through your home or workspace as if you were a guest seeing it for the first time. Ask, does this space energize me or drain me? Notice how your body feels in each room. Heavy? Restless? Calm? Your body never lies. It knows the truth about energy before your mind does. Write down the areas that need a reset. Step 2. Alignment. Clear, clean, and curate. Choose one area to refresh. Remove clutter, clean surfaces, and bring in symbols of peace and purpose. Play soft music while you work. Make it a ritual of renewal, not a chore. As you clear, speak affirmations aloud like, I release the old energy and welcome new abundance. When your space begins to breathe, so will you. Step 3. Activation. Anchor daily energy rituals. Now that your space is clear, anchor it with daily energy practices. Here are a few ideas. Morning light. Open your curtains and let sunlight in. Light raises vibration instantly. Scent ritual. Use essential oils or incense that make you feel calm and clear. Gratitude corner. Keep one place where you write or speak what you're thankful for. Evening reset. Spend 5 minutes putting things in order before bed. It closes the day with clarity. These small rituals tell your subconscious that abundance is not a someday, it's a lifestyle. Here are 7 simple upgrades you can make starting today to align your outer world with your inner abundance. 1. Declutter one small space. Clear what represents your past identity. 2. Add a plant or candle. Symbolize life and light. 3. Play uplifting music. Set your daily frequency to joy. 4. Curate your digital world. Unfollow accounts that drain your energy. Follow those that inspire growth. 5. Affirm your walls. Write empowering quotes or post your goals where you can see them. 6. Elevate your circle. Spend more time with high energy, forward-moving people. 7. Evening gratitude ritual. Before sleep, name 3 things in your environment you're thankful for. Each of these is a small shift with massive energetic ripple effects. Because when your environment begins to reflect abundance, your mind naturally begins to expect it. You become what you're surrounded by. You are constantly becoming. And every environment you inhabit, physical, emotional, and digital, is shaping that becoming. Your surroundings are not just background noise. They are part of your spiritual architecture. So choose with intention. Design your space to remind you of your strength, your worth, your future. Fill it with symbols of life, sound, color, and light that call you forward. Because you are not just decorating a room. You are designing the energetic field of your destiny. So from this moment on, declare, I live in alignment with abundance. My environment reflects who I am becoming. I choose spaces, sounds, and people that lift my vibration. I am surrounded by energy that supports my growth. And as your outer world begins to transform, your inner world will follow, until abundance becomes not just what you attract, but the atmosphere you live in. Chapter 9. Synchronicity and Flow. Have you ever thought about someone you hadn't spoken to in years, and then they suddenly called you that same day? Or maybe you stumbled upon a book, a quote, or a conversation that answered a question you'd been silently asking yourself. You might have smiled and called it a coincidence, but deep down, something in you whispered, this means something. That quiet whisper is right. These are not random moments, they are synchronicities, visible signs of invisible alignment. They show up when your thoughts, emotions, and actions begin to harmonize with your higher path. When you are in alignment, life stops feeling like a struggle. Doors open, right people appear, opportunities flow with a rhythm that feels natural, not forced. This chapter is about that sacred rhythm, It's about understanding how flow replaces force, how the universe responds to your vibration, and how to recognize the signs that you are exactly where you need to be. The truth is simple but powerful. When you are aligned mind, heart, and action, you become magnetic to synchronicity. Let's imagine your life as a river. When you resist the current, doubting, forcing, and controlling, you create turbulence. But when you trust the current and move with it, the river carries you farther, faster, and with less effort. That current is flow, and it's directed by your alignment. Alignment means your thoughts, emotions, and actions are all traveling in the same direction. You believe what you desire is possible. You feel worthy of it. You act from that belief, not from fear. When these three harmonize, you emit a powerful frequency that the universe responds to instantly. That's when coincidences start appearing. That's when things just happen to work out. It's not magic, it's magnetism. It's physics meeting faith. Synchronicity is the language of alignment. It's how the universe gives you feedback saying, "You're on the right path. Keep going." It might come as meeting someone who connects you to your next opportunity, hearing a phrase that repeats from different sources, seeing numbers like 1111 or 777 repeatedly, getting that gut feeling that tells you to turn left instead of right, and finding exactly what you needed there. Synchronicities are reminders that you are co-creating your life with the universe. When you're disconnected, stressed, doubtful, or trying to control everything, you miss the signs. But when you're calm, open, and grounded in gratitude, you begin to notice the flow around you. It's like tuning into a radio station. The music was always playing. You just had to find the right frequency. The science behind flow. Even psychology supports this truth. Researchers call it flow state, that mental zone where time seems to disappear and everything feels effortless. Athletes describe it as being in the zone. Writers call it the current. Musicians say they're in rhythm. Neuroscientists found that in this state, the brain releases chemicals like dopamine and norepinephrine, heightening focus, creativity, and joy. Your body and mind synchronize perfectly. In other words, flow is not mystical, it's measurable. The spiritual side calls it alignment with Source. The scientific side calls it optimal consciousness. Either way, it's the same energy, you connected to the greater intelligence of life. Let me tell you about Daniel, a young photographer I once coached. For years, he chased opportunities, pushing himself hard, but feeling like nothing worked. Every project seemed forced. He was exhausted, physically and emotionally. One day, during our session, I asked him, "Daniel, what would happen if you stopped forcing and started flowing?" He paused. Then he said, "Honestly, I'd probably start enjoying photography again." I encouraged him to do exactly that, to shoot not for profit, but for passion. He spent a weekend capturing sunrise photos, not for a client, not for validation, just for joy. 2 weeks later, one of those photos went viral online. A magazine reached out. Then a brand deal followed. The moment he stopped chasing and started aligning, the universe began to move things on his behalf. That's the power of surrender. When you release control and act from inspiration rather than desperation, life starts to respond. Here's a truth that may challenge everything you've been taught. You don't need to force the outcome. You only need to flow with alignment. Force comes from fear, the belief that if you don't make it happen, it won't happen at all. Flow comes from faith, the understanding that when you move in harmony with your purpose, life supports you. Surrender doesn't mean giving up. It means giving over, handing the outcome to a wiser intelligence while staying responsible for your vibration and action. Think of a surfer. They don't fight the ocean. They learn to ride it. They align their balance and timing with the wave's natural rhythm. That's how manifestation works. You prepare, you act, you trust, and then you let the wave carry you. When you try to control everything, you cut off the current of possibility. When you allow flow, the universe orchestrates timing beyond what your logic could ever plan. Recognizing flow moments. Flow moments feel like ease, clarity, and quiet confidence. They're not always loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's a simple inner knowing that says, "Yes, this feels right." Other times, It's when small doors begin opening naturally, when things align without resistance. Here are signs that you're in flow. You feel calm and focused, even when things are uncertain. Opportunities come unexpectedly, but they feel right. You lose track of time doing what you love. The right people and resources appear effortlessly. You feel guided, supported, and connected, not alone. When you notice these signs, pause. Breathe. Say to yourself, "This is flow. I am aligned." Acknowledging it strengthens the vibration, and the flow grows stronger. When flow feels blocked, everyone experiences seasons when nothing seems to move. That doesn't mean flow has disappeared. It means life is recalibrating you. Sometimes the delay is the alignment. It's the universe saying, "Not yet. Something better is forming." If you find yourself forcing, doubting, or feeling stuck, pause and reset. Ask, where am I trying to control what I should be trusting? Where am I acting from fear instead of intuition? Then take a step back. Breathe. Do something joyful or grounding. Take a walk, meditate, listen to music, spend time in nature. Flow returns when you stop chasing it. Remember, the wind only fills a sail that's open. Practicing the flow mindset. Here's how to bring more synchronicity and flow into your daily life. Step 1. Set the intention, then let go. Start your day with a clear intention. For example, today, I move with ease and trust that the right opportunities will find me. This doesn't mean you sit idle. It means you act from alignment, not anxiety. Once you've set your intention, release it. Don't overthink the how. The universe works best through open channels, not clenched fists. Step 2. Follow the nudge. Flow often speaks through nudges, gentle impulses, or ideas that feel light and curious. Maybe you suddenly feel inspired to call someone, take a different route home, or start a project that excites you. Follow it. These nudges are breadcrumbs of synchronicity, steps that lead to the bigger picture you can't yet see. As Steve Jobs once said, "You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backward." Flow helps you trust the invisible dots while you move forward in faith. Step 3. Stay present. Flow only exists in the now. When you're worrying about the past or future, you step out of alignment. Practice mindfulness. When you're walking, walk fully. When you're working, be immersed. When you're resting, rest completely. Presence is the portal to flow. There's a powerful story about an entrepreneur named Maya. She had an idea for a wellness brand but struggled for years to launch it. Every investor said no. Every plan seemed to fall apart. Finally, exhausted, she decided to pause. Instead of pushing, she focused on personal growth, meditation, journaling, reconnecting with her purpose. 6 months later, she attended a random networking event she almost skipped. There, she met a designer who shared her exact vision, and together, they built a company she'd been dreaming of. When she stopped forcing the when and trusted the why, everything aligned. That's synchronicity in action. Now, I want to give you a tool to anchor this lesson, something I call the flow tracker. Each day, take 2 minutes to note. 1. Moments of ease. When did things feel effortless or aligned today? 2. Signs or synchronicities. What coincidences or nudges appeared? 3. Your emotional state. How were you feeling before the flow happened? You'll begin to see patterns. You'll realize that flow happens most when you feel grateful, open, and at peace. Not when you're rushing, controlling, or doubting. This awareness rewires your relationship with life. You stop chasing miracles and start noticing them. Life was never meant to be a constant battle of willpower. It was meant to be a dance, a rhythm between your intention and the universe's intelligence. When you trust that rhythm, everything changes. You don't have to know every step. You just need to listen, move, and allow. So from this moment on, repeat this affirmation. I no longer force what is not meant for me. I move with flow, faith, and freedom. The universe and I are co-creators. I am guided, supported, and always in the right place at the right time. Let this truth sink in. When you flow with life, life flows with you. Synchronicity becomes your new normal, and the path of becoming becomes a journey of ease, not struggle. Part 4. The Mastery of Becoming. living as the future self. Becoming is not a moment, it is a state of mastery. It's the moment when you stop chasing change and begin embodying transformation. In this final part of the law of becoming, we move beyond techniques and rituals into the art of living as your future self now. Here, abundance is no longer something you seek. It becomes the rhythm of how you move, think, give, and receive. You are no longer practicing alignment. You are alignment. Mastery doesn't mean perfection. It means consistency of consciousness, the ability to return, again and again, to your center of power, no matter what life presents. It's when gratitude becomes your default frequency, when setbacks become signals of growth, and when your inner world and outer world begin to dance in harmony. You'll learn how to live beyond time, how to think and act from the energy of completion, as if everything you desire already exists within you, because it does. You'll understand how your daily habits, thoughts, and emotions continually shape the identity you project into the quantum field. At this level, becoming is no longer about reaching goals. It's about evolving consciousness. It's about realizing that every version of you, the one who struggled, the one who dreamed, and the one who's now thriving, has always been part of the same unfolding story. The mastery of becoming is about stability and expansion, knowing that abundance flows not because you chase it, but because you are it. It's living with quiet certainty, moving with calm power, and creating with an open heart. This is where the journey turns full circle, where the student becomes the embodiment of the lesson, and the seeker becomes the source. You are not who you were when you opened this book. You have changed, expanded, aligned. Now, it's time to step fully into that truth, to live as your future self, not someday, but today. Welcome to Mastery. Welcome to the Becoming Fulfilled. Chapter 10. Identity Shift, the final step of transformation. Here's a truth most people never realize. You don't get what you want. You get what you believe yourself to be. You can repeat affirmations, visualize success, and chase every opportunity out there. But if deep down, your identity still whispers, "I'm not that kind of person," your life will quietly bend itself back to match that belief. Real transformation is not about adding new habits or chasing goals. It's about becoming a new version of yourself who naturally lives those goals. Because no lasting change can happen until your identity changes. You can't outperform your self-image. You can't live beyond who you believe you are. The final step of transformation, the true essence of the law of becoming, is learning how to shift your identity, not just your mindset. The psychology of acting as if, without pretending. Let's talk about one of the most misunderstood ideas in self-development, the phrase act as if. Many people take it to mean, fake it till you make it. But pretending is not power, it's pressure. Pretending drains you because it's based on fear, the fear that who you are now isn't enough. But acting as if, in its true psychological form, isn't about faking anything. It's about embodying your future self in the present moment with integrity and faith. Here's the difference. Pretending says, "I'll wear the mask until people believe it." Becoming says, "I'll align my behavior with who I'm growing into." The first creates anxiety. The second creates alignment. Psychologists call this self-signaling theory, the idea that your brain takes cues from your behavior to decide who you are. When you consistently act like the person you want to become, your brain starts believing, "This is me now." That's not self-deception. That's neural reprogramming. When you walk, talk, and decide like your higher self, even before the results show up, you teach your subconscious that this new identity is your reality. And your subconscious, once convinced, will move heaven and earth to prove itself right. Becoming versus pretending. The integrity of true transformation. Let's make this clear. Transformation built on pretense will eventually collapse. But transformation built on integrity, on acting from inner truth, becomes unshakable. Pretending says, "I hope I can become this person someday." Becoming says, "I'm already evolving into this version of me right now." The difference is ownership. When you truly own your growth, you don't need to convince anyone, not even yourself. You live it quietly, confidently, naturally. Let's take an example. A few years ago, I worked with a young man named Tund. He was painfully shy, could barely speak in class, yet dreamed of becoming a motivational speaker. He admired people like Les Brown and Tony Robbins, but he felt miles away from that version of himself. One day, during a session, I said to him, "Tund, stop waiting to become a speaker. Start being one now." He looked confused. So I asked, "How does a speaker think? How does he move, talk, prepare, connect?" He started small. He began reading out loud to himself every morning. He volunteered to lead small study groups. He practiced speaking in front of a mirror, not to impress anyone, but to embody confidence. Months later, he delivered his first 5-minute talk at a local youth event. His voice trembled, but his truth was clear. And when the crowd applauded, I told him, "See, you didn't become a speaker tonight. You revealed the speaker you already were." That's what identity shift looks like. You don't fake your future. You grow into it through repeated alignment. How habits crystallize a new identity. Habits are the building blocks of identity. Every time you perform a habit, you're voting for the kind of person you believe yourself to be. Every small action says, "This is who I am." When you go for a walk instead of scrolling endlessly, you're casting a vote for, "I'm someone who cares for my body." When you study even when tired, you vote for, "I'm someone who values growth." When you save money instead of spending impulsively, you vote for, "I'm a wise and disciplined person." Individually, these votes seem small, but over time, they crystallize. They harden into a new self-image. Psychologist Benjamin Hardy put it beautifully. You don't build habits to achieve goals. You build habits to become the person who can achieve them. That's why focusing only on outcomes often leads to frustration. If you try to earn abundance without becoming abundant in mindset and behavior, you'll always feel like you're chasing something that slips away. But when you embody abundance in gratitude, in generosity, in calm confidence, you attract it naturally because your identity now vibrates at that frequency. The science of identity change. Neuroscience confirms this. Your brain's neurons connect based on repetition and emotion. Each time you act in line with a desired identity, with genuine feeling, you strengthen new neural pathways. Over time, your subconscious stops seeing that behavior as something you do and starts seeing it as something you are. For example, say you want to become a disciplined person. At first, waking up early feels unnatural. Your old self resists. But each repetition rewires your identity. "I'm the kind of person who keeps promises to myself." Eventually, discipline no longer feels like effort. It feels like you. That's when you know the shift has happened. You're no longer trying to change. You've become the change. Let me share another story. Maria, a single mother of 2, came to me feeling lost. She said, "I used to be confident and driven, but after my divorce, I feel invisible." I asked her one question. If your most confident, radiant self walked into this room, how would she move, speak, and think? She smiled through tears and said, she'd hold her head up. She'd dress well again. She'd speak with warmth and certainty. I told her, then start being her now. So she did. She began small, dressing up even when no one saw her, journaling daily affirmations, walking with intention, and saying yes to new social invitations. Months later, she landed a promotion at work. When I asked her what changed, she said, "I stopped waiting to feel confident. I decided to be her until confidence felt natural again." That's the embodiment loop in motion. Behave as your future self. Feel as your future self. And soon you become your future self. The embodiment loop. Now, let's talk about how you can step into your future self through what I call the embodiment loop. It's a simple but powerful cycle that rewires identity from the inside out. There are 4 steps. 1. Vision. Define your future self. Ask yourself, who am I becoming? Not just what you want to achieve, but who you need to be to achieve it. Maybe it's the calm, confident leader, the abundant entrepreneur, the fit, energetic parent, the peaceful, grateful soul. Write down that version of you in vivid detail. How do they think? What choices do they make daily? What do they tolerate? And what do they no longer entertain? The clearer the vision, the faster the transformation. 2. Behavior. Act like your future self today. Now that you've defined them, start behaving like them. Ask yourself each morning, what would my future self do in this situation? Would they procrastinate or act decisively? Would they speak from fear or from clarity? Would they react or respond with wisdom? You don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to take one aligned action every day that supports the identity you're building. Every small behavior is a signal to the universe. I am becoming this person. 3. Emotion. Feel it fully. Emotion is the fuel of embodiment. You can't think your way into a new identity. You must feel it. Feel the confidence, the peace, the joy, the gratitude your future self lives in. Your subconscious doesn't distinguish between real and vividly imagined experiences. So when you feel it deeply, your mind begins to rewire your body to match that emotion. That's how internal change starts showing external results. For evidence, notice proof of change. Finally, begin noticing the proof that you are already shifting. It might be subtle, a calmer reaction, a new opportunity, a compliment from someone who notices your growth. When you see these signs, acknowledge them. Say to yourself, this is evidence that I am changing. This creates a feedback loop, reinforcing your new identity until it becomes your natural state. That's the embodiment loop. Vision, behavior, emotion, evidence. Repeat it long enough, and the old version of you fades away quietly, without a fight. Step into your future self. Let's bring this home with a simple yet powerful exercise. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath in. Exhale slowly. Now, imagine your future self, the person who has already mastered the abundance, confidence, and peace you desire. See them clearly. Watch how they carry themselves. Listen to their tone. Feel their energy. Now ask yourself, what's one small thing I can do today that aligns me with that version of me? Maybe it's speaking kindly to yourself. Maybe it's sending that email you've been avoiding. Maybe it's walking with your head high, smiling more, or choosing gratitude over complaint. Whatever it is, do it today. Because every time you choose the action your future self would take, you collapse the distance between who you were and who you're becoming. You stop waiting for change, and you start being it. You are the evidence. You are not becoming someone new. You are remembering who you were meant to be all along. Identity shift isn't about pretending to be better. It's about peeling back the layers of fear, doubt, and limitation that covered your truth. When you step into your new identity, you're not escaping your past. You're upgrading your future. So repeat after me. I am not waiting for change. I am the change. Every action I take is a declaration of who I choose to be. I live, breathe, and embody my highest self now. Remember this. Your environment can shape you. Your beliefs can guide you. But only your identity can sustain your transformation. And once your identity aligns with your destiny, the universe has no choice but to mirror it back to you, in opportunities, in abundance, and in miracles. Because when you become, you attract. And when you embody, you evolve. Chapter 11. The Quantum You, Living Beyond Time and Limitation. Let me begin with a thought that can completely change how you see your life. The future you desire is not ahead of you. It's already here, waiting for your awareness to find it. Think about that for a moment. Every possibility, every version of you already exists. The confident, wealthy, peaceful, joyful version of you is not in the future. It exists right now, vibrating on a different frequency of possibility. And your job is not to chase it. Your job is to tune into it. You are not a victim of time. You are not a prisoner of circumstance. You are a creator, a quantum being, living in an ocean of infinite potential. When you understand this, you stop saying, "One day I'll become," and start declaring, "I am becoming now." That is the power of the quantum you, the present moment and infinite realities. Science now confirms what ancient wisdom has whispered for centuries. Reality is not fixed. It's fluid. It changes based on observation and awareness. In quantum physics, particles don't exist as solid things. They exist as waves of possibility until they are observed. Once you focus on one possibility, it becomes real. That's not just theory. It's the blueprint of manifestation. You, too, are surrounded by infinite probabilities. different outcomes, choices, timelines, and identities that could unfold from this very moment. Each time you make a decision, feel a thought, or focus your attention, you're collapsing one of those infinite possibilities into physical reality. You are, quite literally, shaping your world through your state of consciousness. When you say, "I can't," you collapse a version of you that is powerless. When you say, "I can," you open a doorway to strength. When you say, "It's possible," you align yourself with a frequency where it already is. This is not magic. It's not wishful thinking. It's awareness at work, how the present moment connects to all possible realities. Here's the secret. All versions of you exist simultaneously. The successful you, the healed you, the creative you, the abundant you. They're not waiting in the future. They're existing right now, in what physicists call the quantum field. This field is not out there. It's the invisible energetic fabric of everything. It connects your thoughts, emotions, and actions with physical matter. When you raise your awareness, when you feel the emotion of your desired future, you start to resonate with the energy of that reality. You begin to draw experiences, people, and opportunities that match that frequency. You've probably experienced this already without realizing it. Think about a time you were deeply focused on something, a dream, a desire, a creative project. Then, out of nowhere, the right person appeared. A chance conversation, a lucky break. You said, "Wow, what a coincidence." But it wasn't coincidence. It was coherence. You aligned your energy with your desired outcome, and the universe rearranged itself to meet you. That is how the present moment connects to all realities, through your vibration of awareness. The entrepreneur who chose his timeline. Let me share a story. David was an entrepreneur I worked with years ago. He had a dream to build a business that inspired young people. But every attempt failed. Investors said no. Clients vanished. He was tired and almost gave up. During one session, I asked him, "If you already had the success you dream of, how would you feel right now?" He laughed, relaxed, grateful, confident. So I said, "Good. Live from that emotion now. Don't wait for results to give you that feeling. Become that vibration first." Something shifted in him. Instead of operating from desperation, he started operating from faith. He made decisions from a place of clarity rather than panic. He visualized success each morning, not as a wish, but as a reality already unfolding. Within 3 months, an old friend called unexpectedly, offering a partnership deal that became the foundation of his company today. David didn't create success by chasing it. He collapsed that possibility into his reality through awareness and emotional coherence. You can do the same, using awareness to collapse possibilities into outcomes. Now, how does this work in practical terms? Let's make the invisible visible. Every time you think, feel, or act, you're sending a signal to the field. That signal says, "This is who I am." The universe doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to who you are being. So if your energy says, "I am abundant," you collapse realities where abundance is your truth. If your energy says, "I'm always struggling," you collapse realities that keep you struggling. Awareness is the switch. When you consciously direct your awareness toward gratitude, possibility, and confidence, you start to activate those states in the quantum field. You move from reacting to life to creating from life. You no longer wait for the future to bring joy. You bring joy to the present, and the future must mirror it back. The quantum model of creation made practical. Let's simplify this profound truth into something you can practice daily. There are 2 models of living. The Newtonian model, old way. You believe cause and effect are linear. You think you must do something first, then you'll feel something later. Example: once I get the job, I'll feel successful. The quantum model, new way. You reverse the formula. You feel successful first, and that emotional vibration draws the job to you faster. You embody abundance now, and opportunities rearrange themselves to match. In the Newtonian model, you wait for life to change before you do. In the quantum model, you change, and life follows. The old way depends on time. The new way depends on energy. This is how you live beyond time and limitation. You stop saying, "It's not here yet," and start saying, "It already exists, I am tuning in now." When you align thought, emotion, and awareness in the same direction, the universe has no choice but to respond. You become the magnet, not the seeker. The athlete who collapsed time. Consider Serena Williams. Before she ever became one of the greatest athletes in the world, she saw herself as a champion. She visualized victory before she had the trophies. She carried herself, trained, and thought like a winner long before the world confirmed it. That is quantum alignment. She wasn't waiting for success to define her identity. She embodied success, and the universe followed suit. You can do the same in your own field, your relationships, your healing journey. Your awareness is your creative power. How to live as the quantum you. Here's how to bring this concept from theory to practice, from mind to manifestation. Follow this simple 3-step process daily. Step 1. Collapse distraction. Enter the now. You can't create from chaos. So first, quiet the noise. Take a few deep breaths. Notice your body. Feel your heartbeat. This moment, right here, is the gateway to all realities. You don't need to fix your past or predict your future. You just need to be here, aware and awake. The more you dwell in the now, the more energy you reclaim from time-based fear and regret. You stop scattering your power and start channeling it into creation. Step 2. Tune into the desired emotion. Now ask yourself, what would I feel if my dream were already real? Would you feel relief, confidence, joy, gratitude? Feel that emotion, not in your head, but in your body. Let it spread through you like warmth. That feeling is your access point to the version of reality where your dream already exists. As you hold that emotion longer, your energy field begins to match it, and matching frequency attracts matching form. Step 3. Act from that frequency. Once you're emotionally aligned, act as your quantum self would. Not from fear, but from intuition. Send that message. Take that step. Speak that truth. Follow the nudge that feels expansive. You don't need to know how it will all unfold. Your job is to stay in vibration. The universe's job is to handle direction. Every time you act from faith rather than force, you're bending time, collapsing probabilities into chosen outcomes. That is what it means to live as the quantum you. The Now Manifestation Meditation. Let's turn this wisdom into experience. Find a quiet space. Sit or stand comfortably. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in, and let it go. Now, bring your awareness to this exact moment. No past, no future, just now. Feel your body supported by the ground. Feel your heart beating, a reminder that life is happening through you, not to you. Now imagine yourself already living the reality you desire most. See it, feel it, smell it, hear it. If it's abundance, feel the calm confidence of financial freedom. If it's love, feel the warmth of being seen and valued. If it's purpose, feel the deep joy of knowing you are living your calling. Hold that feeling in your chest, not as a fantasy, but as a vibration. Say quietly to yourself, I am this now. Feel the truth of that statement. Your awareness has just collapsed the gap between someday and now. Stay here for a few breaths. Then open your eyes gently, carrying that energy with you into the day. You didn't just imagine your future. You became it energetically. And when energy becomes consistent, reality must follow. You are infinite possibility. Let me leave you with this thought. You are not your past. You are not your history. You are a living, breathing field of infinite potential. The moment you stop identifying with limitation, you awaken the quantum self, the version of you that lives beyond time, beyond fear, beyond lack. So don't chase your dreams as if they're distant. Merge with them in consciousness. Live from them, not toward them. Remember this mantra. Everything I desire already exists. I choose it now. I live it now. I am it now. The quantum you doesn't wait, it creates. It doesn't beg, it aligns. It doesn't hope, it knows. And when you live from that knowing, time bends, possibilities rearrange, and life flows effortlessly toward your chosen outcome. Because in truth, there's no waiting for your future. There's only becoming it now. Chapter 12. Abundance as a Way of Being. Let's begin with a truth that can completely transform how you live. Abundance is not something you get. It's something you become. For most of us, abundance has been taught as a result: the house, the money, the opportunity, the dream job. But true abundance isn't a number in your bank account or the applause you receive from others. It's an inner relationship with life itself. It's waking up each morning knowing, deeply, that life is for you, not against you. It's trusting that even when things don't go your way, something greater is being aligned for you. It's realizing that the more you give, the more flows through you. When you begin to live abundance as a way of being, not chasing it, but embodying it, you step into a rhythm with life that feels effortless, expansive, and joyful. You stop trying to take from life and start dancing with it. That's what this chapter is about. Not how to get abundance, but how to become abundance. The true nature of abundance. Most people misunderstand abundance. They see it as a finish line. If I can just make this much money, if I can just find the right partner, if I can just get that recognition. But abundance doesn't live at the finish line. It lives in the flow. True abundance is not a possession, it's a perception. It's how you choose to relate to life. A person can be rich in things and poor in spirit. Another can have little and yet feel overflowing with peace, gratitude, and joy. What's the difference? It's not their situation, it's their state of being. Let me give you a simple metaphor. Imagine you are a river. When you're open, flowing, and clear, abundance moves through you naturally. You receive and give without fear. But when you're blocked by doubt, fear, or comparison, the flow stops. You start to feel like there's not enough. The truth is, there's always enough. But your belief in lack cuts you off from the current of life. Abundance, therefore, is not something you achieve. It's something you allow. When you align your thoughts, emotions, and actions with openness, you naturally attract more opportunities, more connection, more joy, and yes, even more prosperity. Because abundance is not about accumulation, it's about circulation. Oprah's shift from scarcity to flow. Let's take a real-world example. In her early career, Oprah Winfrey often spoke about struggling with the fear of losing everything she'd built. She worked constantly, driven by a silent voice that said, "If you stop, it could all disappear." That's the scarcity mindset. The belief that abundance is fragile, that you must cling tightly or it will be taken away. But then something shifted. She said in an interview, "When I finally understood that my real job was to keep myself aligned with the energy of the source, not to chase success, but to stay open to it, everything multiplied." She stopped working from fear and started creating from faith. She began to trust that life would meet her at her vibration, not her effort alone. That shift, from striving to aligning, is what abundance as a way of being looks like. And it's available to you right now. How to sustain growth without burnout or greed. Abundance can be intoxicating. When things start going well, money flows, recognition comes, doors open. It's easy to slip into greed disguised as ambition. You start chasing more for the sake of more. And before you know it, you're running again. Not from lack, but from fear of losing what you've gained. This is where many people unconsciously sabotage themselves. They burn out, not because they don't have enough, but because they don't feel enough. True abundance has nothing to do with excess. It's about wholeness. You can grow without losing your peace. You can expand without exhausting yourself. You can desire more while remaining deeply content with what you have. The key is balance, what I call sustainable receiving. Think of a tree. It grows upward only because its roots grow deeper. Its expansion is balanced by its grounding. If you want to expand in life, financially, spiritually, emotionally, you must root yourself in gratitude and integrity. That's how you grow without greed. That's how you sustain success without losing yourself. The entrepreneur who found peace in giving. Let me share another story. A client of mine, Maria, built a successful fashion business. But even after years of growth, she felt constantly anxious. Every day she woke up thinking about competitors, profits, and pressure. She said, "I have everything I wanted, but I feel empty." One day, we talked about shifting her focus from getting to giving. I asked her to start using her business as a channel for generosity, not just profit. She began donating a small percentage of sales to a local girls' school. But more importantly, she personally visited the school every month to mentor the students. Within months, her stress began to fade. She said, "For the first time, I feel like my work means something." Interestingly, her company grew even more, not because she worked harder, but because she was now flowing with abundance, not grasping at it. The joy of giving rekindled her creative energy, deepened her purpose, and connected her to something larger than herself. That's the paradox of abundance. The more you give, the more you have. The joy of giving, circulating energy through generosity. Here's a truth that every abundant person knows. Money, love, and opportunity are all forms of energy. And energy cannot flow where there is fear. When you withhold love, you block love. When you hoard money, you block prosperity. When you refuse to share your gifts, your creativity dries up. Generosity, whether it's time, kindness, or resources, keeps the current of life alive within you. You become a channel, not a container. And when life sees that it can trust you with flow, it gives you more to circulate. Think about it like this. If a lake stops giving water to the river, it becomes stagnant. But if it continues to flow, it stays fresh and full. That's how abundance works. The more you circulate it, the more vitality you experience. And here's the beauty. Giving doesn't have to be grand. It can be as simple as sharing a smile, sending an encouraging message, helping a stranger, or sharing your skills freely. Every act of generosity sends a signal to the universe that says, "I am abundant enough to give." And that vibration invites more abundance to flow back to you. Living abundance daily. Now that you understand abundance as energy, let's bring it into your everyday life. Here's a simple practice. I call it the abundance loop. It's not about manifesting more, it's about becoming more. And as you become, the outer world naturally expands to match you. Step 1. Think it, the mind of abundance. Every morning, remind yourself that life is on your side. Say aloud, "Today, I live in an abundant universe. There is enough for everyone, including me." Shift your thoughts from competition to collaboration. From "what if I don't get it?" to "there's more than enough to go around." This thought pattern retrains your subconscious mind to see opportunity instead of lack. Step 2. Feel it, the emotion of abundance. Close your eyes and recall a moment when you felt deeply grateful, a simple joy, a kind word, a meal, a laugh, a success. Let that gratitude expand until you feel full. That fullness is the emotion of abundance. The more often you feel it, the more your energy field aligns with abundance itself. Remember, the universe doesn't respond to your words, it responds to your vibration. Step 3. Act it, the behavior of abundance. Live as if abundance is already yours. Be generous in action and spirit. Tip a little extra. Compliment freely. Offer help without expectation. Your actions confirm your belief that there is always enough. And what you confirm, you create more of. Step 4. Give it, the circulation of abundance. Finally, give something every day, a smile, a prayer, resource, an encouragement, an idea. Giving keeps your energy unclogged. It reminds you that you are not separate from life's flow. You are the flow. When you live this loop, think it, feel it, act it, give it, you step into a cycle where abundance becomes effortless. You move from chasing to magnetizing, from surviving to thriving. The Abundance Loop Meditation. Let's seal this lesson with a short reflective exercise. Take a deep breath. Let your shoulders relax. Now, visualize yourself standing in a wide, flowing river, the river of life. The water is clear, cool, and abundant. It flows around you, through you, endlessly. As you stand there, say quietly, "I am part of this flow. I give freely. I receive freely. I am abundance in motion." See yourself giving, sharing love, ideas, money, kindness. Then, see the river returning it all to you in new, surprising ways. Feel the ease of that exchange. There's no grasping, no scarcity, only flow. Stay in that energy for a few breaths. Then, as you open your eyes, Carry that sense of fullness into the rest of your day. Becoming the flow. Here's the final truth of this chapter. You were never meant to chase abundance. You were meant to channel it. When you live from trust instead of fear, when you see life as partnership instead of competition, you begin to dance with the universe instead of wrestling it. Abundance isn't a destination. It's your natural state when you stop resisting and start receiving. So today, as you move through your world, remember this mantra. I am not chasing abundance. I am abundance flowing. Feel it, believe it, live it, and you'll find that everything you once thought you had to run after will begin running toward you. Because when you become abundance, life itself cannot help but match your rhythm. Chapter 13. You have become. Take a breath. Feel the air move through your body. Steady, alive, present. Pause for a moment and think back to the person you were when this journey began. You started this path searching for something. More peace, more clarity, more abundance, more you. And here you are, standing on the other side of becoming. You are not the same person who began this book. You have stretched your beliefs, expanded your energy, and discovered the quiet power that has always lived within you. Something in you has shifted, maybe subtly, maybe profoundly. You now see differently, think differently, and feel differently about what is possible. Because when you understand the law of becoming, not just in theory, but in experience, you realize that the journey was never about getting anything from the world. It was about awakening what was already inside you. You didn't just learn the law. You became it. The journey never ends. Here's the beautiful paradox of life. Becoming never truly ends. Every time you grow, life expands to meet you. Every level of awareness reveals a new horizon of potential. So even now, after all the insights, reflections, and transformations, your journey is not over. It's just beginning at a higher frequency. Many people make the mistake of thinking, when I finally reach my goal, then I'll be fulfilled. But fulfillment is not the end of the path. It's the energy you bring to the path. The truth is, your growth is infinite. Every time you evolve, the universe rearranges itself to match your new vibration. You've probably noticed this already. Opportunities start showing up where before there was only silence. People who once drained your energy seem to fade out, replaced by others who uplift and inspire you. Your inner dialogue, once full of doubt, now carries more kindness, more confidence, more possibility. That's not coincidence. That's alignment. The external world always mirrors your internal state. As you become more open, life opens. As you become more loving, life becomes generous. As you become more abundant, abundance becomes natural. The old version of you chased outcomes. The new version of you creates outcomes, simply by being aligned with who you really are. This is what I call the echo of becoming, the way life reverberates with your inner transformation. How to keep evolving beyond goals. Now that you've become aware of your creative power, the next step is to keep evolving beyond goals. Goals are beautiful. They give structure to your desires. But if you're not careful, they can become cages, measuring your worth by what you've done instead of who you're becoming. Here's the key. Use goals to grow, not to prove. When your self-worth depends on achievements, you start living in tension. You chase validation instead of expansion. But when your goals become expressions of your identity, ways to embody your truth, they elevate you without draining you. Let's take a simple example. Imagine two people training for a marathon. The first says, I need to finish this race to prove I'm strong. The second says, I'm running this race because I am strong. Both will train. Both will sweat. Both will show up. But one runs from lack, and the other runs from power. The outcome may look the same on the outside. A medal, a photo, a finish line. But the inner experience is completely different. The first person needs the world to give them strength. The second person brings strength to the world. That's the evolution beyond goals. When your actions come from being, not needing. When you move through life as a giver of energy, not a seeker of approval. The artist who let go. A few years ago, I worked with an artist named Jamal. He'd been struggling for years to make it. He painted with passion, but was constantly discouraged by rejection and lack of recognition. He said to me one day, Maybe I'm just not meant to succeed. I smiled and asked, what does success mean to you? He paused. It means people finally see my value. And there it was, the root of his frustration. He was creating to be seen, not creating from his seeing. We worked together to reframe his relationship with his art. Instead of painting to please others, I told him to paint as if the universe itself was his audience. To let each brushstroke be an act of gratitude, not desperation. Months later, something changed. His energy shifted. He stopped chasing galleries and began sharing his work freely, online, in parks, with friends. Within a year, his art went viral. But here's the best part. By the time success arrived, he no longer needed it to feel successful. He told me, I became what I was chasing. The world just caught up. That's the law of becoming in motion. You become, and the world becomes with you. The law in one sentence. If I could leave you with one truth to carry into every area of your life, it's this. You become, and the world becomes with you. This single sentence holds the entire law. When you focus on who you are becoming, instead of what you are getting, you align with the creative power of the universe. Everything you experience outside of you, success, love, abundance, mirrors what you cultivate within. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. When you become peace, your life begins to quiet. When you become confidence, opportunities appear to match it. When you become love, love multiplies around you. The world doesn't change first, you do. And then the world rearranges itself around your new vibration. This is not philosophy. It's physics. Energy responds to energy. The outer is always an echo of the inner. So if you ever find yourself feeling stuck, the question is never, why isn't my life changing? The question is, who am I being right now? Because becoming isn't something you do once. It's something you practice every moment. How to live as the law. Now that you've learned, practiced, and embodied these principles, let's make them your daily rhythm. Here's a simple 3-step framework to live as the law every day. I call it the becoming cycle. Step 1, awareness. Recognize your current state. Before reacting to life, pause. Ask yourself, who am I being right now? Are you being fearful or faithful? Are you being a victim or a creator? Are you being small or expansive? Awareness breaks automatic patterns. When you see your state clearly, you gain the power to shift it. Step 2, alignment. Choose the energy you want to embody. Once you see where you are, choose where you want to be. Maybe you want to embody calm, courage, or gratitude. Close your eyes and imagine your future self, how they stand, speak, breathe, and respond to life. Then, for the next few minutes, become that version of you. Your nervous system doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. It responds to vibration. So when you feel abundant now, you begin aligning with the energy that creates abundance. Step 3, action. Express that energy through behavior. Finally, take one action that reflects your chosen state. It could be sending that message you've been avoiding, forgiving someone, or taking one small step toward a dream. Every time you act in alignment with your higher self, you anchor that energy into reality. You no longer hope to change, you embody change. And over time, those small daily choices compound into transformation. Because becoming is not about speed, it's about consistency. The mirror meditation. Before we close this chapter and this book, let's do one final reflective exercise. Find a quiet moment today to stand in front of a mirror. Look into your own eyes. Don't rush. Don't judge. Just look. See the person who has walked through fear, doubt, and resistance to reach this moment. See the resilience, the courage, the faith that carried you here. Then say softly, or out loud if you can, I have become, and I will keep becoming. Feel the truth of those words settle in your heart. Let gratitude rise, not for what you've achieved, but for who you've become in the process. Because that's the real miracle of this journey. You didn't need to find abundance. You discovered that you are abundance. The journey continues. As we come to the end of this book, remember, there's no final destination in becoming. There's only expansion, an infinite unfolding of your potential. The person you are today is the seed of the person you will be tomorrow. And every thought, Every emotion, every action you take is another step in your evolution. You have the tools. You have the awareness. You have the power. Now it's time to live it. So as you step forward into your next chapter of life, carry this truth in your heart. You don't chase abundance, you radiate it. You don't seek love, you become love. You don't wait for life to change, you become the change. And as you do, you'll find that everything around you begins to shift in response. Because when you become, the world cannot help but become with you. So take a deep breath, lift your head, and walk forward boldly. Not as the seeker you once were, but as the creator you have always been. You have become. And this is only